Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Jack and Ori with Rasta and Alex, my hand puppet. My hand is now. When I squeeze your leg, open your mouth. Hi. Greetings, everyone. Hello. How are you all? Welcome back to Rasta Mace Paints stuff. Sorry about last week. It's been a bit of a rough week. I ain't going to go into no details, but personal stuff I'll go on. So thank you very much for bearing with me last week. It just happens. It happens to us. John had stuff to do. I had stuff come up. It's just been one of those eventful, colourful, trying years. Trying? Yeah. Shall we use that word?
Trying.
Hey, Archning, my good friend Lee Dalton, Richie C. I'm going to punch you. Tavern Wars, what you saying? Got a wicked one this week. I'm carrying on painting the Space Wolf, and it's come out really nice, and I'm going to be able to do some stuff on this that maybe it was a bit harder. Hey Chirag, it was a bit harder to show you on the X-Wing stuff, right? And I know loads of you are into painting other stuff apart from spaceships, so a lot of this, it's been great for me because it's been stuff and kind of techniques and just kind of the feel of what I'm painting that I don't normally paint in an X-Wing ship. So we got, hey John, why not? Because of those silly glasses you wear, and I'm gonna punch you now because you won't see it coming. Because he's blind. Because he's blind. Yeah. Yeah. Who needs a reason? Oh, dude, we've already had one. Thank you all for sending down some lovely cakes. Oh, do you know what, internet? I do believe, even in Matt, are we right, Ulfric, that you were 60?
Well, that's what
because he doesn't look 60.
Say it to us, but
were you 60 on your last birthday?
If he is,
what is SMH? Is that sadomasochistic hero?
Hero, yeah.
What's SMH? It's not MFI. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's an acronym.
They can keep their acronyms.
Yes, it was.
Oh, right, okay.
Happy birthday,
so, listen,
Ulfric.
everyone. Ulfric, those of you that come to the store, you've met Ulfric. And those of you in the wider Exon community, you probably met Ulfric as well. And Ulfric's awesome and very generous and celebrates everyone's birthday, whether he even knows them or not. He buys them a bottle of rum. He's awesome. So, happy birthday, Ulfric. Happy 60th. I'm sorry I didn't message you on my day. I needed to go dark for a couple of days last week. But happy birthday, bro. So I'm not going to sing it because it'll just be me rather than you all joining in and me not feeling like such a bell end. I'm sorry.
Maybe we should do it as a stretch goal.
Do you know what I mean? What?
You singing happy birthday.
Me singing or me swearing. Just different levels. At 20 could change language. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, so some housekeeping before we start, because we are back and we need to keep everything running. Because our subs have dropped loads, right? Because we've been away for a couple of weeks, so it's easy to forget. And if you've got a free sub, please use it on us, and that's on Twitch or on YouTube. That really, really helps to keep things going. That's the first thing. So because I'm going to give you 2 really nice things today, so they'll help you to get your spondoolies that you're going to need for the tickets for today. So let's talk about what we're going to give you first of all. And I'm rapidly running out of stuff. I'm serious. These 2 I was never meant to give away. I had to go in my special locked up cabinet of stuff I decided I wasn't giving away, and you got these 2. So
first one, I'll do a big one, then you can see it.
It's coming.
Cool.
So this, and the photo's crap. It won't photograph really well, but this is like a faded Harlequin Star Viper with the wings clothes, right? So that's your first, and I'll show you it. I'll show you it in a minute. When we switch the heads down, I'll get them on and show you it, and he'll show you the next ship, and it is the second one of those. Now I was going to keep one for posterity, but you lot loved it so much, and I'm trying to give Mark a second chance at winning it in Canada because he was so upset he didn't have it. So that's it. 2 £60 stretch goals, 60, then 120. Hit 60, I'll give you the Star Viper. Hit 120, I'll give you the Striker as well. So thank you very much, and thank you for your donations all the way through. John will chuck a link up. There's one that comes up every so often. And it will be same as always, 500 a ticket, unlimited tickets. If you've got a sub, you get an extra ticket. Yeah, I did 4. And I had to keep the other 3 because Scarlett wouldn't let me. One's pink and one's purple. And she was like, no, I love those. So if John's going to give me a top down, and I'm going to show you some nice shiny things. And then I'm going to show you this Space Wolf because I'm pretty chuffed with this Space Wolf, man.
Hang on a sec, I've got the wrong shit.
Oh, also, I got hold of a bugger load of those gore fiend tentacles. And I'm going to be doing loads of those. And I'm going to be giving them away. So you can see a little bit better, right? It's really hard to get these to camera. It's this properly beautiful faded check pattern. What colour is it to what? Because I can't remember.
So
it's yellow to green, is it?
Well, it's just yellow to black.
To black, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Colour blind, as always. So that's what you're getting. It's hard to find my focus points because I set it up for doing the thingy bob. But it's really pretty, really squid-like and beautiful. And here's your Striker. Thank you, Alex. I knew I brought him along for something. As seen on the game I played with... Hi, Ryan. Hello, my brother. As seen on the game I played with Ash ages ago. It's all recorded. So there you go. There are your 2 stretch goals. Okay, let's get this out of the way. I'm going to show you where we're at. So, helmet. Okay, so I did do some painting. But I was always going to do some painting, but you'll see on the body how we've got... Now, the head is pretty close to being finished, right? All I've got left to do on the head is to finish the gem itself, not quite finished, and to do the edging on this gold, which I haven't done yet, right? So let me show you what's going on this. Because these are the techniques. Everything you're going to see here, and on the next bit I'll show you, I'm going to teach you today. This really is one that Alex and me will talk about other stuff, and I know you guys are going to bounce stuff, and we're going to have lots of different kind of conversations going on while we're doing this. But what I want you to pay attention, and I will keep kind of talking it through with you and showing you exactly what I'm doing. Watch how I'm using my medium today. So I'm going to be using one medium particularly, and that's my model wash, but I'm using it in a way that is much more like I'm using a paint on a canvas, right? Because you've got a canvas now. So anyway, we've got all this beautiful shading. So we've got the airbrush highs that we did. You saw all this, right? But then now I've started using model wash, and this is what I was talking about with the weathering. And this is not wham bam weathering. You're going to see in a minute. This is progressive layering. We are using this black not as a coverall. We are using it as a way of enhancing the highs that we've got. So we're putting the lows in now. We're also using it because what this will do, it will stain your paint. So we're using it to affect the tone of this blue grey. So we're going to get lots of different shades, and it's going to give you like incredible detail. We're also then going to go back. We're going to do some of these weathering, these damage techniques. Now these are done, all the darks are done with the same stuff I'm using to do all the shadow weathering. So I'm going to show you how you use this product to be many different things, and how one colour will give you many different shades, give you reality, right? So because what we don't want to do with this, I wanted it to be cartoony and I wanted it to be striking, but I don't want it to be really gaudy. I don't want the chips to be really over the top. So I'm kind of getting a balance between catching those edges and a little bit more subtle and really nice little bits. Evening Wookie Outrider, evening Kevin Bellamy, my brother, all the way from Portugal, sod. Right, so you can see we've got some really nice weathering going on. Some nice shade. I'm going to show you the body now. I did go with green on the eyes. Love you Tavern Wars. And this bronze has had the first coat with... I'll show you while I'm talking about it. With this stuff, right? Now, I searched high and low for this and I finally found one. This is Winsor & Newton ink. And this is Pete Brown. This was the secret of all my 40k painting when I didn't really know how to paint. And it is for incredible stuff, and it does something pretty phenomenal to bronze, right? It's a great overall colour. They do lots of colours, but nothing really quite touched on the peat brown, right? It was a big... I used to go through loads of it, and they hated me using it because all my tutorials were built around peat brown. But sorry. Well, John's like... Oh, right, anyway. So, look, let's get to the body. I want to show you. So, look, this side. Now, can you see here, right? The purity seals are not done. This bag's not done. But can you see what's going on with this leg? Trying to get you in this arm, right? Now you can start to see all the weathering, all the edge highlighting. I started to put some, you can see the red. I've got the two, like 3 or 4 shades of red in there. This was all done with a brush, by the way. No more airbrushing now. The only place I've used the airbrush since we last met was just on these bits of the gun. So I just put a couple of bits of masking tape and I just blew a couple of bits because I'm going to go in and edge highlight all of this anyway. But I wanted to just softly put in some of these greys on the gun. But yeah, look, this is a good... This side, look, undone. This side, done. So I'm going to take you through how I went from that to that. And we'll start turning because I have started doing more. Mainly what I've been doing, I've been sitting at home all day today painting, is I've started using the black. Right, so... And this is not 100% true what you're seeing. We've struggled with the brightness on this model a little bit. But as you can start to see, I'm working round. Less and less I've started to hit with a wash. Right, and I haven't done any highlighting. You can see none of this has had any of the light work done to it. I've only just really started. As you can see the difference here, once I've gone in with the dark, I then go back in with light. And I start putting in other levels. So you start getting this, it's just a stunning, stunning look. And even better once you see the proper photos. But that's what we're going. That's what we're going from today. I'm going to teach you how to go from here to here with lots of layers, lots of time and patience, and show you how that material works really, really well. Right, so I'm going to have a drink because I'm as dry as an Arabian's flip-flop. There you go, it's fair enough. A desert dweller's flip-flop. There you go. That was all inclusive. Right.
Look, they're trying to heist again.
Already.
They're not listening to me. This is, see, I sit there, I talk me a little art out,
and all they're doing is heisting.
and all you're doing is robbing each other. Or robbing us, more to the point. So, listen, these are serious projects so far. Like, the hours that have gone into there, I think I'm at something like 16 hours of painting just on this so far. Yeah, you should. Mr. Dalton is sending me some ships, everyone, you know, from his parts graveyard. They're not exactly parts graveyard, but I'll turn them into parts graveyard. And next week, the plan is, because I hope to have a lot of techniques covered, and I'll show you the finished model next week, but I've worked out the coolest little conversion with the Naboo starfighters I'm going to teach you. I mean, who doesn't want to own a Naboo starfighter that looks pretty much like an identical copy of Anakin's pod racer? Coming next Monday, yeah, so tune in. Listen, you're lucky you're 4 hours away, you know. And I've just been on one of those driver speed awareness courses. Right, so we are going in with... look at that big old lump of... That's what happens with this model wash, look. Can you see that? There's a big old lump of dry pigment. I don't know what that is. And it like comes out like
Thank
string.
you, Rocky Outrider.
Oh, was that Mark? Thank you, Mark, brother.
Oh, it's gone all...
Yeah, so get that out.
Splodgy.
It's gone all splodgy. Get out. Where's my tissue? Where's my toilet roll? There it is. No, not that one. You shouldn't have touched that. You're going to be pregnant now.
Oh, well.
Seriously, that's how it works. My mum told me. That's how I had 3 kids anyway. I just kept touching her tissue.
Will you have the base done next week?
I don't know if Kev will have the base ready. I can certainly show him that. without the base, but it'd be better with the base. I
Yeah,
get that.
with
The idea was the base was always going to be magnetisable. So I was going to put 2 magnets on it, 2 magnets on the base.
and then you can
So
swap it
it's
out.
never solid.
Yeah.
Kev's on it, and
Kev's on it.
Lee wants to know what model wash you use.
I am using Vallejo Model Wash Black. That's all I'm using for this kind of blue areas, right? I'm going to be using a little bit of the brown just for the yellow, but I haven't got to that yet. Now I'm thinning this down. Right, let's go over here a minute, so I'm not having to go so far. I did a speed awareness for motorbikes. We all just sat there swapping stories, number plates and marked cop cars. So, welcome to Story Time with Rasta. It's been a while, isn't it? So, here's one of my little genuinely not making it up or BSing you stories. So, about 4 years ago, I went for a speed awareness course. I'm going to start painting, yeah? In fact, I'll tell you what I'm doing and I'll tell you my story. Let's get out my brushes. Right, so it's a little bit thinned down and I'm going to start hitting some of the recesses. And this is like a process that's going to go on layer after layer. I'm going to keep going on, taking off, going on, adding, and so on and so forth. But anyway, while I'm doing that, while I'm just starting at the moment, and look how strong that looks. That looks really scary, doesn't it? Trust me, it ain't scary. You do want to thin this down, right? And you don't want to like splurge it all over the whole model. But this black model wash, all their model washes, you put it on and it does soften. I haven't used it neat. But then I'll wash my brush. Let's get a bit of my cup in a little bit. And then I'll start to pull that out a little bit. So I start to soften that out. And I'm cleaning off in my mouth all the time, or if you want in a pot. And we're going to start to soften. And then we'll go in. We just broke that hard edge. And that's what we're going to keep repeating. So here we go, my story. About 4 years ago, I got done for speeding. And I went for a speed awareness course. And I was sat in this room in Staffordshire somewhere, and there was this guy that I think he clearly missed out on the examination for being a copper or in the army because he was just a twat. Right? Sorry. He was a tiny little idiot. And he made up some nonsense statistics about why they put speed cameras where they put it. And because I'm not one to speak out in a crowd. Right, and I'm a very reserved kind of guy, right? Okay. And I don't know what come over me at that point, but I couldn't keep my mouth shut, so I had to call him on it and basically go, I can smell something in this room. And anyway, we had what you should call a personality game of tennis for the other 3 hours, where I took much pleasure in calling him out on all his nonsense every time he did it. And anyway, I left there feeling like I used to feel when I was at school. Like he couldn't wait to get rid of me, and why is it always your name, Delapina? Right? So anyway, went home and told everyone, and they were like, you're a naughty boy, it's how you are, innit? You're just a naughty boy at school. And I was like, I am. Once a naughty boy, always a naughty boy. So then I get done again 3.5 years later for doing 1 mile an hour over the bit that you can do. So I wasn't really speeding. It was just them taking some more of my money. And I went to this new... It's true, John. Because do you know why it was them taking my money? And it was clearly entrapment. Is just before I got the speeding ticket, there was a contraflow for no reason at all. Then there was a mobile speed van as soon as the contraflow had gone.
They just put your name
Right?
in the system.
They did it in purpose, right? Anyway, so I went to this second one in Derby. And I've got in this room and there's these 2 guys. And I look at them and I think to myself, you got a familiar face, you two. There's something about you two. I'm just thinking, where have I seen you two before? Yeah, one more so than the other. So anyway, we start talking, and then suddenly, this one who I'm less sure of where I remember him from, he comes out with the same smelly statistic that the other one did in Stafford 3.5 years ago. And since then, I'd been on the internet and found out exactly what was right and what was wrong. So there you go. Me again, being reserved as I am, decided to call him on his point And then when he disagreed with me totally and went, no, it's not like that, blah, blah, blah. Where did you hear it? And I said, funny, I think it might have been from you 3.5 years ago. And just to say, at that point, they wasn't too best pleased with me. And for the rest of the 2.5 hours, man, it was the best 96 quid I've spent in a long time. Okay? I genuinely know that by the time I'd finished with him, and I called him at every point, I weren't having none of it at this point. I had him over a barrel. He had, like, you know when soldiers go to war and they have this post-traumatic stress? That's it, isn't it? He had that. Honestly, bloody the best thing ever. Ever.
You should have bought your booklet, would you?
So, yeah. I should have brought... Oh, my God, and if you'd have seen my booklet. What I did to my booklet. Oh, I turned it into a work of art, my booklet. And I drew him and I drew the other guy. I drew myself in a hot rod going really fast. I was really bad. They asked you a question in the book. They were like, what could you do to stop yourself speeding? And I said, just put less fuel in the car. Oh, no. When is it you think you'll speed? When I don't think I'm going to get caught.
Yeah.
Right? And yours was 130. You must have been going very fast, you see. Or were you in London? That's the thing. You live in London.
He doesn't live in London. He's from Essex.
He's from Essex. You're right, Alex. He's not a proper Londoner like you. Oh, I forgot you're not a Londoner anymore.
No. But
Do you want another story? Here we go. Forget my adventures. This is Alex's continuing adventures in Countryland. I took Alex fishing again. So Alex has been beaten up by a bramble. He's been mugged by a stinging nettle. He's been kicked in the face by a holly bush. He's had it all happen to him. And then I took him fishing the other day and I caught this fish and I says, here, hold this, we'll take a photo. And the fish bit him. I swear to God.
You've never been bitten by a fish.
He put his fingers in the gill to hold it, and he went in a bit far, and it got to his back teeth, and then it had hold of
It's
him.
like hooked on his back jaw.
I swear to God, that's what actually happened. Yeah, it's all going at sleepy little villages of Derbyshire. I swear to God. So look, right. I don't know if Johnny Cannon's in this trap. Alex, do you have something?
Yes,
for me
yes, I
from
do.
yours?
It's in the cabinet out there. There's
It does indeed.
a little plastic pouch thing that's got
So
some
let me get
tokens
it.
and stuff on it. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Cheers.
I'll
I left it
step
somewhere.
around all this.
Right, so as we're doing this, what I don't want you to do is leave it too long. I was having this conversation with Johnny Cannon about this, right? Where Johnny was like, I left it on and I couldn't get it off.
What's up? Second shelf down, there's like one of them bank bags, them money bags. That's it, that's the one, yeah.
That's for Clive.
He's got something
Euros.
for you, Clive.
Yeah.
What you got for him?
It's from Euros.
Oh, is it Gold Squadron prizes?
I believe so. I mean, there's some wicked stuff. Like Carl Weathers is into a film.
Is that Carl Weathers and Sons of Phil?
Oh, okay. So we had our last veterans
We did.
event.
Yeah,
Didn't we? I guess
That was a really nice segue, John. No one noticed.
Did they not?
Why did Rashter and Ash stop? Because
Ash stopped.
Ash is having an affair with the Queen. He is now. He wears all her clothes.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's
Follows all her
constantly rummaging around in her bag. He handles all her valuable goods. Right? Yeah, Ash, unfortunately, has taken another job. So he doesn't get as much time around here. And because his working hours are a bit funny, it's kind of affected his ability to get and do Rashter and Ash. Yeah, that's unfortunately why it is. He does pop in from time to time, and when he does, it's incredible. We were going to have him last week, but unfortunately we had to cancel last week. But we will get him back in soon for an episode. Are you out there, Mr. Brooks? Are you washing? Hi, Lucky. Did you see I was using your cup last weekend, or the weekend before, for our tournament? Showing everyone the telephone number.
I've tried this wash after your rendition when you did the after spray.
Oh yeah,
Love
good
it,
dude.
use it a lot.
Give me
Yeah,
some
yeah.
reading out. Yeah. So what I'm doing, right, and I'm going in, and some of it looks a bit harsh, and then sometimes I'll go in and I'll take it off, and I'm almost taking it all off, but it is affecting this grey, right? And it doesn't work when you just try and hit it in one. You've got to keep adding it and going back and forward and taking it off, and that's where you're going to get these transition of light to dark. That's how we're going to build that. We're never going to build that by you just thinking this is... So very much a lot of you probably will have had some idea, if you're not really heavily into painting, from your White Dwarf magazines. And they often showed people applying washes very much as just it being kind of slapped over the whole model. We're not trying to do that. Because this will stain the highest points, and we don't need to put it over the highest points. My dad showed me because I didn't get to watch that one. Ah, well, we did, babe. We used it loads. In fact, where is it? There it is.
Just beside you somewhere.
There it is. I got it. I wear it as a hat sometimes. Just a little hat. Should we see how long I can paint? That didn't last long, did it?
Yeah, that was that then.
And my kung fu is very weak.
V's asking how you're finding the brushes.
Oh, just like, can you ask the guy to whatever badger he got the hair off of to go and like hold it down and get some more?
I got a badger in my back garden.
You got a badger in your back garden. They're a protected species,
I
Dodd.
hate it. I hate the badger.
They never
I
hate on
it.
anyone.
It's awful.
You hate it.
Yeah.
What's it ever done to you,
It
John?
ripped all the bottom off my shed. Destroyed it. It
You
did.
sure that was a badger?
It was
not
definitely
just
a
like
badger.
somebody else.
No, it was a badger. It's massive as well.
You've got a massive badger
In his
running
shed.
around in your back garden, John.
Badger. I said badger, not beaver.
Yeah, I'm from South London, mate. We call it a badger down
No,
there
no, it's,
because it's black and white and scary.
no. It's a badger. Nobody likes badgers.
I don't know really any
Sorry,
badgers really
they made a
so-
whole programme about a likeable badger.
Yeah, well, it was a lie.
What program was that?
Bodger and Badger. And the
Did he
badger
do-
just loved mashed potatoes.
Like bodge jobs?
No,
at the
he was a
time?
chef.
Oh right.
Bodger was the chef and Badger was his helper, but Badger always messed up what Bodger was cooking. It's very good, but he loved a bit of mashed potato. I love all the Americans going, what the goddamn hell?
Well, like their mashed potatoes weird there. They use it as like a side, like a dip.
Thanks, the pie.
So, and when you want to get rid of your ink, so what you do is you give it a good old wash. This is probably the best part of this whole technique. And then you shake it, and then you beat the devil out of it. I love doing that.
Now that we're discussing an old program that I'm almost definite I've never
Bodger
seen.
and badger. I don't think
Yeah.
I overwatched it much, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, it was probably released before I was born.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Most things were.
Yeah, 90% of the world.
Yeah, well, even more than that.
Laters, Paul. So look, can you see like it almost looks a bit messy at the moment, doesn't it? It does look messy. That's clearly not what I want. But we have. This is the thing about this product. This is not a. It's not a quick thing. I'm not going for a quick paint job. This is a no holds barred paint job. I've got a pretty good idea who's going to end up trying to own this model when this is
Corporal keeps
painted.
asking about the next Patreon.
Right. Oh yeah, Patreon deals. I have got all that stuff. So the next Patreon rewards will be coming out to you next month, and that's going to be our months going forward from now on. Our months are going to be October and April. They're going to be when our reward dates are. Going forward, I won't miss those dates anymore. The $20 Patreons, you are going to be getting a painted exclusive dial cover and FFG dial cover. Weird, hold on. I've got this weird little black spot in the corner. Put the GIMP, that's it. It's the GIMP, sorry. Yeah, the $20 Patrons, you're getting your exclusive dial cover, plus you're going to be getting 2 limited edition cards, which I'm going to have printed. Some of my ships, cool things. I'm thinking of doing like engine upgrades, all sorts with my models. Every 6 months. The $10 patrons, you're going to get an unpainted dial cover and 2 cards every 6 months. $5 patrons, 2 cards every 6 months. All the Patreons will have access to buy the dial covers. Doddy, don't worry about it. Your support has been great. I know how long you've been. You will get the next dial cover, Doddy, so don't worry about that. Yes, you will, Doddy. I always look back and see who's done what over the time. So don't worry if you've been in there even for the 6 months and you've had to drop down, you'll still get your prize. And forgive me for being a bit behind. It's just Worlds it's just come up like a bloody train, and I'm still haven't had my flights arranged, so I'm panicking a little bit. But yeah, that's it. And the $2 patrons, you just get to listen to my beautiful dulcet tones and hear my voice. And you will get the opportunity to buy a dial cover and the cards as well if you'd really want to. But for those of you that are in the $20, $10 and $5, they're your prizes. Salacious Crumb is your next dial cover. It's going off to Ryan's in the next week or so. So it will be on its way back to you, and everyone will have their painted ones by the end of October. And also, if you're a Patreon and you're watching us right now, shout out with the word Patreon, and John will give you your 500 spondoolies for the month.
Yes.
Right, let's get You could have just said that though, couldn't you? You need to write this down. Patreon Archnin. Sorry, I'm off camera.
It's got Archnin.
Archnin, Pi, all three.
Why?
It made me talk and made me leave my ink a bit long.
Was it the pie?
Yeah.
It's the Pie,
Harvardan.
the Birmingham, Harvarden.
Adding this in now, guys, as you're saying it.
So as you're doing it, John's adding you your spondoolies. That's another advantage of being a patron. So for $2 a month, you get £5 worth of donation money. £5 worth of donation spondoolies, which is a pretty good deal. Which is basically, if you're a sub, going to give you 2 free tickets for one of my giveaways every month for £2. I think it's pretty good, man. What's a lottery ticket now?
Harvardan.
It's Harvarden.
Harvarden. All right. Cool,
Stop
cool.
butchering his name,
I'll
man.
butcher whatever name I want to butcher.
You can't. It's a Viking
Yeah,
name.
look
He'll
at
come
that.
and pillage your village.
Look, Greenmouth, Lee Dalton, whoever Greenmouth is.
Who's that one?
It's Terminator.
That was that one.
Yeah.
Phil. 0091.
What else we got?
Clive.
Dad! What you saying, Dad?
We got Matt.
Yeah, Matt Witham.
Who was that?
What was that?
Wow, thank you, dude. There's a pledge on Patreon. Thanks, Steve.
John Vickery.
Stephen. I bet he hates being called Steve because he ain't got a V in his name. Sorry, man.
Is it John Space Vickery or John?
John Space Vickery.
If any of you have just joined us and you are a Patreon subscriber, shout out and we'll give you 500 spondoolies for the month. That's what we do every month.
Although I think people have been scoring pretty well from the heisting, haven't they?
Yeah, very well. Nice. I've done really well. Fun, Dan. And then me.
Do you count?
Do I count? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe.
Do I count?
No,
Why?
because you're not Patreon.
I know, but I
Yeah,
have to.
that's true. Yeah, you're not a Patreon at all. You don't get any of the benefits.
No, tell me about it and I'll do all the work.
Yeah, I think that was all.
I'll keep an eye on
See, there you go. Look at that. That's great. That's somebody backing me up already.
What's that? Alex can pronounce it that way if he wants. It's only a made-up name.
Exactly. It's a made up.
No, Harvarden is not a made-up name. That's from something. Someone Google the word Harvarden. It's something. I've heard it before in something, in some legend or something.
What
It's
do
a
you think?
place
Like a
or a name of someone.
Sure you didn't have a dream?
Maybe I did.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. All these opinionated, bald people.
Who you call him, Paul?
Alex.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I mean, all I'm getting is an autocorrect to Harvard University.
Yeah, me too.
Some Turkish website. Natalie.
Ah! I know what I've done. This is how many substances I must have taken in the past that I have changed Harvarden into. Do you know where my head's gone? Lethal Weapon 1 or 2 and the Albavarden.
The Alba.
It was the name of the boat that they smuggled in the Krugerrands, and it was the Albavarden. I'm telling, someone go quickly and watch all of Mel Gibson's films and tell me if I'm right. Just watch them all now.
How does that even link?
And Simeon's like, Dad, I think you should microdose with mushrooms. It will help with your depression. Like I need to microdose. I have micro flashbacks. Be right back. Watching now. Go Harvarden. It's Lethal Weapon 2. I'm right. It's the Albavarden. I remember because he goes mad, doesn't he? Whoop, whoop.
And you... It's that leap from that to Harvard.
Mate, I am a very complicated young man. Old
I
man.
didn't even remember there was a boat in Lethal Weapon 2.
I didn't know the boat either.
Once again. Just proving how awesome I am. My knowledge of Mel Gibson's movies.
Just making things up.
What Women Want is another one. Bird on a Wire. That one where he got a lot of trouble for being a racist. Okay, we are getting there.
Oh, J.R. Ewing's heisting one Spondoolie,
Oh,
as
like
he normally
normal.
does.
Diplomatic immunity, Richie says.
I claim diplomatic immunity. That was a really bad accent for South American.
That's what I was saying.
South American, South African.
I mean, you just went Russian.
I always go Russian. Let's just take him off a minute.
No, see, I don't think it works like that, Pi.
What's Pi saying? Talk to me.
What Pi's saying is he thinks that the amount that JR's going to heist, he will end up with the most amount of money back. But from what I know, the amount you heist
Is directly relevant.
exactly. So the more you heist, the more you get paid out.
Yeah.
If you only heist one, you only ever get back like 3 or 4. I don't know what the actual is. Right.
Oh,
Hey,
thanks for
Captain.
Rex.
Thanks, guys. Like I said, anyone that's not subbed, please do.
I think we're due to make some more emoticons, I think, aren't we? Need to photograph some of your images.
Yeah, you do, because I like my list is too long at the moment. I can't even put my glasses on straight. I'm having a little meltdown on stream. I've knocked over me ink, right? Rasta has a live on air mental breakdown. Just one man. Evening, Kate. I'm fine. Micro dose, massive dose. Would be
Apparently,
better.
Salacious Crumb should be the next emoticon.
For emoticon.
Salacious Crumb. All right, you want Salacious Crumb? You can have Salacious Crumb. It's going to be hard for you to colour though, John.
Nah,
No.
just send me a photo on white paper. I'll do it.
John's got it. John can
I've
do
got it.
colouring.
I've got it.
John can do the old colouroonie.
Probably look terrible, but I didn't do it.
I mean, that will happen one week when Rasta can't turn up. I'll just come here and I'll paint on the stream. It looked terrible, but
Yeah,
at least they
yeah,
got a
yeah,
stream,
yeah.
right?
We'll do it together, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we'll paint over one of Rasta's ship.
Have you...
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we'll just pick something.
Children, carry on.
Could we borrow your Thunderbird ship?
Yeah, something
We'll
nice.
redo it.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Can I
In
borrow
green.
your wife?
Yeah, sure.
Cool, man. It's fine. All right. I promise I will bring her back without a scratch. Just like the Millennium Falcon.
First
No
thing
scratches.
to happen, the
There,
satellite's
there
gonna
might
be
be
knocked
a
off.
couple of bits broken off.
I'm not saying anything, just in case
She's watching.
Yeah.
That's her subbing now. Oh, I love you, Lee. Thank you, my
Thank you,
darling.
Lee.
That's it. You get the Star Vipers, the Star Viper brothers,
Okay,
sisters.
let's change that image.
I mean, Lee only donated to get it out of the way. This is what he really wants.
You're not wrong.
I always am. Sometimes.
Yeah, Lee made me worry because he didn't answer my message for like 3 days, and that's what I do. When someone else does it to me, I can't cope, and I freaked out and thought he was in a hole or down a well. I sent out my dogs looking for him. It turns out he was all right. He was just sleeping.
For 3 days.
It's what I'm worried about you when I message you, isn't it?
Mate.
That's alright. If
honestly.
you're ever worried, message me.
I will.
I'll
do,
tell you if
yeah,
he's alive.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if I can't find him, that's when
Well,
we'll
he
get the
normally
dogs and we'll
ignores
start
me, so I
looking
wasn't
for him.
surprised, to be fair.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could be sitting in the shed next to him,
Yeah.
message him, and he'd just ignore me.
Yeah.
Sorry for that awful sniffy noise, but I've got a bit like all bunged up all of a sudden. No rude jokes. I can hear you like laughing in your nose.
I was just saying it's that fresh country air.
It is that fresh country air.
Oh, Rattler's beating Lucky Call Sign in
Oh,
Jewelry.
come on.
It doesn't matter though. Lucky Call Sign will just go and she flash those big old baby browns,
Make a cup of tea.
make a cup of tea, and Rattler will cave.
Orfric's asking how your tooth is.
Do you know what? Actually playing up today, mate. Another one of my list of things that there's not enough time in the day to do. And Alex can attest now because he's been up with 2 weeks and he hasn't had a job and he's knackered. He's like, you just go everywhere all the time,
Well, that's why I'm pleased to start work now.
so you don't have to try
I
and
don't
keep
have
up
to
with me,
just- Yeah.
mate.
Every 5 minutes we're going somewhere, doing something.
What are these cameras that Dalton's on about?
What's this? What?
So always log into the cameras to check he's okay that got installed during the Great Golden Poe heist of 2018.
There's not cameras, mate. It's like blow darts, poison, lava. There's all sorts of dangerous things now in the garden, all over the place now. Especially now I haven't got any children living in the house.
I mean, the job hunting went. I now have a job. I'll start next week. It's going to be alright. Working in retail.
It's not true. He's going to become the village gangster. He's realised that he's got an untapped potential market there. We've basically got a village full of small children and old people, and there's no one to help those old people carry their pension check home on Pension Wednesday. So Alex is going to offer them the service for a small discretionary fee.
I thought you said there was going to be there was nobody to sell them drugs.
Do you know what? In little villages, you'd be surprised.
Exactly.
Like I said, there's a lot of old pensioners with greenhouses.
A lot of young children with nothing to do.
Have you seen my aces, Margaret? Are you sure they're aces, Bill? Said they were aces on the packet, Margaret. Ooh, I feel a little bit lightheaded, Bill, smelling your flowers. Miracle Grow, Margaret. Did you see what they advertised today? I had a heart attack. They advertised CBD oil on the telly at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Really?
Yeah. Hi, housewives. Are you bored? Have you done the washing? Kids at school want to get high. Legally, now you can. Get 5 at B&M Bargains. It's just like, what's happening?
The world's going wrong. The world is going wrong, though, isn't it?
It's going so wrong.
All going to hell in a handcart.
Well, maybe that's like a post-Brexit thing where the entire nation will just turn into stoners, and that's just how we live.
That'll be the first American import, won't it?
yeah, exactly.
And we ain't got meths. Well, we do, but it's just meth. We ain't got the crystal that goes with it that makes it bad. They have this. It's true. They get these little packs of crystals. I think it's that stuff, that silica gel. I think that's all it is.
That's all it
You
is,
pour that in white spirit,
Yeah.
and you snort it, and you got crystal meth. Apparent. Don't try that.
No, don't put it out on there on the street.
It was a joke. Oh, come on. Right. Lucky. Go and speak to your dad and he'll explain to you that I'm talking nonsense. Everyone else, if you don't know any better, you've only got yourself to blame.
Yeah. The stream's on pause now.
The stream's not on pause.
They've all run out to find silica gel.
Yeah, searching in the
George
drawers.
said.
Silica gel, white spirit, pot. What kind of pot? Is it a plastic
no.
pot?
What could
Do I need to heat it?
What could possibly go wrong?
Just get a whole bunch of like homemade bombs.
There was 2 women before you got here walking down the street, both carrying 4 litres of bleach in each hand. And we were like, I'm concerned.
I was definitely concerned.
Tartan James! I've got him. I've kidnapped him. If you want him back, send a big ransom to Rasta's house. On it, and I promise I'll send him back. Just for a week or so.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd use that as an excuse. It's not my fault, officer. The internet said it was okay.
Absolutely. Have you seen what the government and the internet is advising now, that you have emergency grab bags?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What'll be in your grab bag, George?
My emergency spliff, John. I'm not being funny, but if the world ends, and I think that's a good enough excuse, even at customs, to go, I've only got the one. What's it for? It's my emergency spliff. I'm sorry, officer, but if aliens are about to blow the planet up, or there's a 57-mile wave coming at me, I want to go with a smile on my face. Do you know what I mean? And yes, I could drink that bottle of Kraken, but I don't want to go with a smile on my face while vomiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Random Haney's put grab bag. What's a grab bag?
So the government in this country, for some reason, the other day, decided to put out this thing saying, you all need to be prepared to leave your house suddenly. right, listen.
Exactly that.
Don't panic.
We'll make a grab bag.
But these are the things you need.
It's
A
bottled water.
torch.
Yeah.
You need a
water, some
chainsaw on the end of a rake.
Knife.
Right? Seriously. You need...
Use a can of soup.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You need apples because they're irradiated and they won't
They'll
rot
last
quickly.
forever.
They'll last forever. You need some spam because we're English. Tea bags, apparently.
Yeah, tea bags, definitely.
First aid kit, torch.
Some sugar.
4 litres of bleach. That's maybe what those women
That's
would
what
do.
it was for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just back grab bag.
Yeah, Haney, we have no idea. But
Yeah.
myself and Alex both have a very favourite Fender, and it's called Emergency Spliff. So we were like, that should be in our bag.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, that's wicked.
Oh, and yeah, thank you, dude. A friend of mine is a glass blower for gifts. She'll seal a spliff in a glass tube. Oh my god, I missed it. And etch it with your name.
No,
Or
etch it
break
with in case of
emergency.
Yeah, it's that bad in the moment in this country, Random Haney, that we wake up every morning to see whether we've got a government or not.
Yeah.
Right,
You should
Haney.
check out the window
Actually,
to see if anything's on fire. Or
Yeah.
Okay, so we are also English. So what we do like to do is exaggerate incredibly about how bad things are.
I'm not sure. It is.
Oh, I am. I'm sorry. I know you're going, oh, bloody hell, Brexit and Boris. Our one is not quite as mad as their one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, maybe.
I'm sorry. No. He'll do some crazy bugger. He'll go, you've all got to wear ears and go all the time. But he won't launch a nuclear attack on Canada. Whereas
Do you know what? Right?
old comb over might.
In all honesty, it was a serious thing that they reckoned that he suggested nuking tornadoes to disperse them.
Mate.
Yep. I mean, you could just set fire to a tornado, and that helps disperse it. Like,
Yeah,
there's
we-
a whole program on it.
Sharks or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's really good in a tornado. If you go outside and throw boxes of like nails and broken glass and stuff, if you just launch those into them,
Even a bit of
Yeah, that would do.
like radioactive material.
Yeah,
Fine,
yeah, why not?
Why not?
the world is a silly place.
The world is a silly place.
It does seem to be getting sillier.
But do you think it will ever get to a point when anybody goes, you know what, that's probably enough now. We'll go back to living normally.
Just calm down.
Yeah.
So we were watching. Yeah, and it's weird. I might even make like an actual point and not talk about not that. Okay, now explain a spliff. You see these, Haney? I earned these. Okay, watch some Bob Marley videos. Just watch those. It's my religion, dude. It's my holy sacrament. Anyway, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. What was I talking about? We watched this thing. Weirdly enough, me and him. I've got Netflix now, so I've got this vast amount of telly, as you all know. And even though there's this vast amount of telly, we spend more time trying to pick what to watch because it's all rubbish. And we end up every time back at some sort of planet Earth or Blue Planet. We end up at a documentary because it's the only thing we're like, oh, I've seen that, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was about, I can't remember what it was, but somehow they went to Chernobyl. They visited back at Chernobyl, and it was showing you that within 20 years of Chernobyl happening, that exclusion zone, there's actually this incredible explosion of wildlife.
Yeah.
So
The whole
there's
forest
like,
has grown.
7 times as many wolves there as anywhere else in Russia.
Yeah.
There's all these deer back and this back, and it's like, well, the wolves wouldn't even be here if it weren't. And we were like, well, is that all you got to do? So I'm not saying you should nuke everywhere and seal it off, but it was like kind of the idea that couldn't
you just
aren't we
take a
intelligent
large
enough
area
to go,
and
do you know
shut it
what?
down.
We're going to take 100 mile square or 50 mile square in this country, and you're not allowed to build or do nothing on it. You might be able to visit and walk around, but other than that, we're just going to let nature have it back.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly all these trees pop up, all these animals appear, and it heals a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got to have enough space where we could go, and then we go back to it.
That's what national park is. Though.
Yeah, but why aren't we just not doing it? If you looked at it in this city environment,
Yeah.
even in like this, it just took it all over and fixed it all. It's
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
what it does. So, and 20 years, what I'm getting at is 20 years is not a long cycle.
Yeah.
It's not like you had to go through a 20,000 year cycle.
Yeah.
It was just a 20 year.
20 years.
So
Yeah.
pull out of that
Yeah.
that area that's a problem, or even parts of it, let it heal itself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, nature takes over fantastically fast when the people aren't around.
Yeah, I know. I think the thing we were shocked about, Haney, was the fact that, you wouldn't have expected that if anywhere it wasn't going to thrive, it would have been somewhere that was affected by all that nuclear. But
Well, that's it. Yeah, you think everything was radioactive. I was waiting for the three-eyed squirrels and
but none of it. There was all these baby
Nine-legged-
like species that.
Yeah.
that hadn't been seen for years, and there was like.
But do you know the irony of that is that the people that actually survived, they relocated them to some of the biggest cities in Russia. Actually shortened their life more than if they'd actually stayed where they were
Why is that?
because of the pollution.
Yeah, because and also you know what it's like living in a big city. Everybody living on top of each other.
This is true. This is true. You got.
Your life could be shortened the second you step out your door.
This is true. This is true.
I still wouldn't want to go live there.
I'd like to see
I mean,
it.
I wouldn't. That's it. I'd like to go visit there and look at everything because like
reckon
that
the
whole.
fishing's good though.
Yeah, I
would
know.
you eat
What's
it?
it? No, I wouldn't eat it, but I'd
Yeah, but
catch
you,
it.
you could catch
Yeah.
up with Sirius, all irradiated. Extra dorsal fins everywhere.
Yeah.
We going to Chernobyl. We going to visit Russia. I'd totally go to
I'd
Chernobyl.
definitely go to visit it.
Russia's got some beautiful women as well. Some proper hotties. I'm not talking about Brigitte Nielsen.
Apparently, the HBO show Chernobyl is good.
Have you not seen Chernobyl on the one they did on Sky? I think
No.
it was Sky. Have you not seen that
I
one?
haven't seen it at all. Is it good?
It's amazing, yeah.
Right.
We
It's
ain't got
absolutely
Sky.
crazy. It's about how it all happened.
Yeah.
And they were in such denial. It's crazy.
I try and find a way to get it on the Fire Stick
Yeah, yeah.
since I introduced him to having a smart
It was
TV.
mental. They were showing the firefighters, yeah, and they were walking around, like looking at these strange rocks on the ground, picking up, going, "What's this?" And it was actually part of the reactor core.
Oh snap! Right.
And they
okay.
were just like, their hands were just like melting minutes later.
Well, because there was a group of people that went back in to close the reactor to stop it getting into all of the water supply, weren't
Yeah.
because that would have created like a massive explosion.
Yeah,
I've
it's
watched a
wo-
couple of
it-
documentaries on it.
It's
like,
well worth watching, definitely.
left to my own devices, I just watch documentaries on things.
You see how intelligent we can be when Paul Spurgeon goes for his dinner?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He's there. He's watching.
Sky Atlantic
Sky
and
Atlantic,
HBO is the
yeah,
same.
HBO
Right.
is the same show. Okay.
You can go on tours of Chernobyl.
I don't agree, Phil. That's like saying old wagon wheels are the same as new wagon wheels. They're just not.
But wagon wheels have always just tasted stale.
No,
matter what.
that's because you were alive. You weren't alive in the good times. You were born in the dark
Can't
time
say I
when
was
the
a
wagon
fan
wheel.
of wagon
Didn't they
wheels.
always taste stale?
Yeah,
Where you could buy those
no.
Turkish ones that come in a bright gold packet.
Do you know why?
just
It's
tastes
because
not
No,
right.
no,
So
I don't know what you're
when
on
I
about.
was a
Okay, I'll
kid,
have some
I
when
lived
I
in
go back.
London, which
Yeah.
was right near where we made all the nice food. And because you lot are so far north, by the time it travelled all that way on a horse and cart, it was stale. That's why you've only ever had a stale wagon wheel, John. That's the truth, mate. Yeah.
Though I think most of the manufacturing would have happened here and not there, right?
What are you talking about?
I never liked wagon wheels.
Well, was there a wagon wheel factory in
Now
London?
give me an orange club. I would
Cadbury's
eat
is
that.
in Reading.
Orange Club? No way, man. The Mint Club.
No, not me.
No, Mint is the
Orange
only way to
Club.
go.
What's wrong with you, Mint Club?
No
Get
way.
out of my house.
Orange Club is just like rubbish.
What?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
yeah.
Chocolate,
great.
chocolate orange. Everybody knows it goes together.
Yeah, wagon
Chocolate
wheels,
orange,
right?
but not
A wagon
biscuit.
wheel is
Yeah.
2 biscuits with marshmallow in the middle, covered in chocolate.
Yeah.
That's right, isn't it? That
That
was
is-
the original
Yeah,
wagon
yeah.
wheel.
I think there was a bit of jammy stuff in there as well, wasn't there?
He remembers the old
because
wagon
there was
wheels.
a red one and a blue one.
Oh yeah, Fruit Club. Yeah, I agree. Fruit Club.
What are you
No,
just
nobody
making
had
things
Fruit
up now?
Club.
Fruit Club was
Club
nice.
isn't even real.
Yeah, because it had raisins in it.
Why would
Just
you put
like
raisins in
they
a
made
biscuit?
they made fruit and nut, but not once did Cadbury's have the good common sense or decency or respect for me to make whole fruit. Right?
Well, you don't make
I
whole
want
fruit.
whole fruit chocolate. I don't want nuts because I've got terrible teeth. I want food that's either sucky or melty.
Such
Do
as
you
the
know what I
chocolate
mean?
raisins.
Wagon wheels are overrated.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. Wagon wheels are overrated.
Sounds like a moon pie. Listen, Haney, no
What
one
is a
calls me
moon
moon
pie?
pie apart from my Mima.
What is a moon pie?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Jesus, none of you get any of my cultural references, do
No,
you?
no, that was from Big Bang Theory.
Right, so now
that's
you
cool.
can all clearly see that because
Orange Arrow, why would you ruin it?
I am a star. Now, Orange Arrow was really good, but to
No,
be
Mint
honest,
Arrow.
Mint Arrow was
Yeah.
better than Orange Arrow, Boba
And it's
Fett.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
The same thing applies to when you look at your Orange Club and your Mint Club. The Mint Club is
Chocolate
just
tea
far too
cakes. Now you're just going off kilter now.
Who's that?
Chocolate tea cake.
Who-
It
who's-
destroys the whole point of a tea cake.
Who's even saying that?
Captain Rex, I'm shocked.
But
Tea cakes
Captain
are the
Rex,
biscuit
what you need to
marshmallow covered in
understand,
chocolate, right?
Captain Rex
I
was
don't know
alive
how
in the
that
time
works.
when there was nothing.
There was only tea
Okay?
cakes.
He had to get, if he got a bit of chocolate, it was because someone smuggled it out of Bangkok, stuck up, do you know, the back end of their
machine.
scooter.
Yeah.
Wasn't it,
From
Captain
an
Rex?
American GI, you mean?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I heard Captain Rex, he said apparently he had to, do all sorts of trades with the American, like, soldiers just to get a pair of tights for himself. Do you know what I mean? When he wanted to do a little bit of, Saturday afternoon amateur dramatics.
5 Boys chocolate. What?
Five Boys chocolate. I don't know.
Is that an American saying that?
No.
What?
All right, let's have it on the stream. Put down your favourite chocolate biscuit now. What would it be?
Okay, mine is Choco Leibniz.
Chocolate
Oh,
Leibniz.
Scarlett's Choco Leibniz. They were wicked. It's like a really.
If it was
solid,
just the
thick
biscuit
layer of
without the
chocolate.
cup of tea, we need to make this more specific. Are we talking a biscuit alone or a biscuit with a cup of tea?
No.
Well,
This is
biscuit with a cup of
specifically.
tea is totally
but it's
different.
specifically.
That's
a
what I mean.
chocolate
Is this
one.
just a
Isn't it?
biscuit?
Just a
There's
biscuit.
no liquid
No
involved.
liquid.
No liquid.
Then it'd be Choco Leibniz. Because if it were had a cup of tea,
Yeah, I think they're coming out with tea ones there. No,
Yeah, no,
you-
see,
right,
that's
no
really
tea.
wrong. No-
Because I agree, chocolate digestive with
Yeah.
tea is the best
Yeah,
thing
it's
ever.
quite
Yeah, well, it's custard
No,
cream.
custard
everybody
cream.
knows
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly
Thank
right.
you.
Boom.
Wicked.
Where's the
Yes.
chocolate?
You don't need chocolate.
Not when you got custard creams.
Yeah.
God
Yeah,
damn,
look,
there's an
that's another
earthquake.
winner.
That's Skywalker.
Or
Gold.
Bourbons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bit left field, but it's all right.
They're
it's
still
not
they're
custard
still on
cream.
the tea theme though. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
But no, if it was just like a single chocolate biscuit.
You know what? I like a penguin.
Yeah, I quite
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a penguin. They're
penguin.
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, what does a Jaffa cake count as?
It's
Yeah,
a cake.
Jaffa
It's a
cake.
cake.
Was it a cake or a
It's a
biscuit?
cake.
It's a cake.
It was
We're not
proven
arguing
in
that.
court. It was proven in court because they don't have to charge VAT on Jaffa cakes.
That's true. It's
Okay?
True. It's true.
One of our, here you go,
Oh,
Haney, another
Somebody's gone mad. Left field
mad
there.
English rule, law in fact, is that you don't have to pay tax on cake because once upon a time a queen somewhere said let them eat cake, right? But you do have to pay taxes on biscuits, and there was a court case deciding whether this biscuit we have here
Yeah.
was a cake or a
a
biscuit, and it's a cake.
Twix is actually a good shout. I mean, that
Yeah,
counts
no,
as yeah,
Twix is not bad.
but like a white chocolate Twix,
Yeah,
definitely.
What?
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, white chocolate Twix, man.
Are you the
Oh,
Milky
no.
Bar kid?
I don't have the glasses.
But is the Twigs going from biscuit to chocolate?
No, it's
bar?
chocolate
Well,
bar.
yeah, I mean,
It's not a biscuit.
that's quite a difficult one.
Yeah.
Well, because then the Tunnux caramel wafer bar, is that a biscuit or a chocolate bar?
I don't know.
I think that's a bar
Yeah.
because it comes individually wrapped. A biscuit should come in a packet with loads.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
what's a
Yeah.
Kit
Yeah. I
Kat
can
then?
feel. Well,
It's a
Kit Kat
biscuit.
must-
It's a
It's a wafer.
but a
yeah.
Kit Kat's a chocolate bar because it's wrapped up on its own thing. You don't get
Right,
you don't get
but-
20 Kit Kats next to each other. And yeah, you have 4. I'll have 4 Kit Kats. You don't put 2 Kit Kats together and dunk them in your bloody tea.
But what about Pink Panther wafers then?
Pink Panther wafers.
Yeah.
They're a biscuit.
Right.
Because they come in a
but they're
packet.
wafer.
So, I'm not discussing what it's made out of. I'm talking how it arrives at you.
Oh yeah, chocolate fingers is quite a good shout.
That's a good biscuit. That's a biscuit,
The
definitely.
only problem with those is if you're trying to use them for dunking, you just end
Yeah.
up covered in chocolate.
Yeah.
It's
There you go,
just
guys.
instant.
I'm glad you tuned in for all the relevant painting and X-Wing news.
Oh dear.
What? I don't care. As long as you lot are having fun, it's all good, isn't it? So look, right,
Did you lose some brass pipe once?
I did lose some brass pipe.
Okay.
Thank you,
It
darling.
was in the dirt down there.
Thanks, John. That's where I like putting my brass pipe, is in the dirt.
Chocolate rich tea.
Chocolate rich tea.
Properly wrong, isn't it?
That's
What is it?
wrong.
Like, do
That's
they put
rich
chocolate
tea
on top of it?
Rich tea is just like the worst biscuit ever. I'm just sorry, but
No,
I
rich
don't know,
tea.
rich tea
Rich
with just a
tea,
cup of
rich
tea
tea
is all right.
buttered with cheese is good. Sorry.
Did you run out
Sorry,
of
I
crackers
know.
once?
No, it's not. It's not. Where is Lee Dalton? Lee Dalton will definitely have had a buttered rich tea with cheese. And if you haven't had a buttered rich tea with cheese, go and have a not bit of butter, Marge, or Dolmio, not Dolmio, that's pasta. Spready stuff. No, yeah,
believe it's
and
not
it just,
butter,
like
Marge,
cheddar. It's got
yeah.
to be a piece of cheddar, a little bit of butter on a rich tea biscuit. Honestly, don't knock it till you've tried it. It's properly good.
Did you run out of crackers in your house one day and you were like, I really want some crackers?
Yeah.
No,
I'm just going to have to make
what it was,
make
that
it
day
work.
I ran out of crack in my house, and so I ate biscuits with cheese. It's really good. I was a child having that rich tea with goat's cheese works as well. See, Archnin knows. Goo.
Just get proper
What?
biscuits with
What
cheese.
the hell?
That says a good slab of cheddar.
A good slab of sea,
But he's
Captain
just
Rex,
split it a
cheese
little
and
bit.
he gets it.
Cheese and
But
digestives.
butter the digestive.
No, you just
No,
like, what's
you're
wrong with
so
just
wrong.
your regular
Just get
crackers?
Jacob's crackers
Exactly
or
that.
Cornish wafers.
Halloumi and rich tea. They're
What
going
the?
Here, John, we can play this game. What do you reckon? Stilton and Obnobs. Yeah.
I think I'm having a little bit of a heart attack.
Yeah, I've got Morgan Soda.
Oh, my arm's gone numb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it'd be lovely.
Yeah, that's great, that one, yeah.
Let me run my tummy.
Oh my god. Okay, genuinely, if you have never had it, try it, and I bet you 80% of you will go, "That's really nice."
Oh, he's gone and ruined
Get
it
out
now,
of it.
but- Yeah,
There,
look
there
at
is.
Wensleydale and Oreos. I'm brilliant, I think.
Wensleydale and Oreos.
in
Bourbons in Bolognese. Italian classic right there. I'll have you know though, it's only North Italian. In southern Italy, they don't eat it. So, right, I don't know if you can see, but can you see how now suddenly this side is starting to look much more like that side? Layers and layers of black. If you were paying attention, like how long? That's an hour. Or not an hour, it was probably 45 minutes of going back and forward and taking off that black to get to that point where I start to get the gradiated effects I want and I get these hard black edges. And then I'm using the same, cleaned off, as you can see I'm doing it on there. I'm always taking the excess off and just starting to use it to put in little like, do you see? Just tiny little flecks of colour to start putting in some chips. And as we go, like, so I've got a light grey. And as I go back and back, I can put less and I'm using the same colour and I get a darker black chip, right? But it's just little bits. And then when we come to put the light, you can catch some of those little edges with light as well and it lifts them out. So we're using the same thing that we were using for the washes, just gently catching the odd edge, little chip. And we're just being very expressive. This is what I want you to do. This is what was going on here, right? So that's what I'm doing on here. I just started, once I'd got my shade in, I just started coming over, finding a few little bits I wanted to pick out. So all with the same stuff. Oh, welcome back. We never mentioned you once.
And nothing happened. did we? We
Nothing
didn't even speak
fun
about it.
happened.
No.
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 God, me sniffing my note, I'm eating it.
Do you reckon he had his roast dinner on a rich tea?
Mr. Spurgeon, have you ever had cheese on a rich tea biscuit with butter? What is my mum would give me that all the time. All the time. And do you know what was funny? I was about to do an impersonation of my mum, and I don't know why, but in my head she had a Jamaican accent. Yeah, Jim, I tell you, you have to eat your biscuits. Right? We're really scared. I can't even do me. How do Italians sound? It's like my brain's been wiped. Hey, I can only do my dad. I can't do a woman.
I don't know.
No, it's this stuff, Caleb. It's Vallejo Model Wash. It's not an ink. It's not an ink. Really important. Not an ink, because you won't be able to take off and pull back the way I'm doing, and you won't be able to use it as like a shadowing medium. Like it's hard for you to see because of the light, But here you've got like just a softer grey coming up as well. It's dark in this whole area. We don't have to be harsh with it. Little bits on, like at the bottom, whatever. And then you just soften off that hard edge, bit of water, and it just puts a little bit of dirty shade, a little bit of colour. It just puts in that dark. Rich cheese on a rich tea. No, you freak. Get out of it. Get out of it. You live in Essex, man.
Most people cringe when I eat roast dinner because I just get the Yorkshire puddings and just everything goes in there.
Yeah, a lot of
Just
people
absolutely
do that.
stuff it full.
No, it's wrong.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought
What's
it's-
wrong?
You're putting all your roast dinner in your Yorkshire pudding. And
Yeah, so when you have a roast dinner, you just fill the Yorkshire pudding just full of everything that's on the plate, and you just hide it in that Yorkshire pudding.
What, one
No,
of those
the Yorkshire-
massive Yorkshire
No,
puddings?
just a regular one. You just keep compacting it down to just
That's,
like layers.
it's very wrong.
Yeah, I know. No,
You come from a culture where everything is built of layers.
Yeah, but we don't come from a culture where we put other food inside of.
other food.
Well, that's not true.
No, that's not.
Every culture does that.
Yeah,
Like filled pasta,
yeah.
Or lasagna.
Cannelloni, lasagna, ravioli,
then folded
tortellini,
pizzas,
calzone, some more ones,
some
basically.
more honours.
Various other letters with on at the end.
Yeah. Stuffed Yorkshire pudding best.
Yorkshire pudding and jam. Now we're going the opposite way.
Yeah, I know.
So listen. The other morning, Lee Dalton put a post up about he just had an amazing breakfast, and it was some kind of fruit jam with water biscuits.
Okay.
Okay, so don't have a go at me at my
mean-
rich tea and butter.
Yorkshire pudding and jam is not something I go to.
No.
That was his breakfast, though.
Like, what's next? Bacon dipped in Nutella.
Yeah.
Somebody will like that.
I have had a bacon cheeseburger served in a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, we saw those in the States. I know that much.
It
I
wasn't.
didn't attempt it. But
It wasn't as gross as you'd think. It wasn't good.
Do you know the guy that sometimes runs our magic, Nick Savage? Do you know him, George?
I think so. Go on.
Once he made a pizza wrapped in bacon.
That sounds pretty good, John.
Yeah, it does not.
wait, how do you wrap a whole pizza in bacon?
Oh,
Was
you
it like
just-
a folded pizza?
You get loads of layers on a sheet of greaseproof paper.
Yeah.
Put the pizza on top of it, and then use the greaseproof paper,
Yeah.
and then pin it with skewers. God.
But you're not.
Wasn't
making-
Yeah.
wasn't that the first thing your mother taught you to do as soon as you came off the breast?
No, it was.
Because it
bacon.
was if you're Italian.
It was.
She's
bacon
like, let me
used
show
for
you
us.
how to wrap meat in bacon.
I made savoury donuts.
Archlin's used mini pizzas as burger buns.
Why? Well, you didn't make a savoury donut. You made a bagel. That's what you made, and that's what we're gonna call it. And nobody's gonna.
Who made a
argue
savoury
about
donut?
that. Kay.
Kay made a savoury donut.
He
Archons use mini pizzas as burger buns.
has.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
that's all
You
right.
got to remember that Kai is a very confused young man. He's from the land of the setting sun, or the rising sun, or definitely something to do with the sun, and Scotland. And when you add those two things to any human being on Earth, they're going to cook some weird stuff, man. Let's just face it. Let's just
they have
face it.
deep fried Mars bars in Scotland,
Well,
don't they?
Yeah, but they're quite nice actually. Like if you haven't had one,
That's fair.
I
Don't.
suggest it.
If you haven't had
It is
one
nice
and
to
you
have
care about
the
your
one.
life,
I mean, like even when you're eating it, you know it's too much.
Evening,
It is
Alan.
Nice.
where's my pad? My palette. Look, I brought a new palette just for you lot. This is all nice and shiny. That's what she said, John.
And then she told him it was a fiver.
I'm having a little vape. Sorry. I could now lecture you on the difference between bagels and donuts, but I'll spare you the tedium. You don't do that, Kai. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, they're both made from a dough, right?
What makes a donut a donut?
And a bagel, a bagel.
I don't know.
Well, we could find out.
We could, we won't though.
Right, we won't. So
Because if you say anything about donuts or bagels, I'm going to ban your car.
I haven't done all up here and all that yet, But what I want to do is I just want to show you a little bit where we move on with this blue armour. We're going back to the original colours we used in the airbrush. So I'm going straight to Fenrisian Grey. Label fell off.
Get ready with that ban button if he says anything.
What? Who? What? Bagels are a big deal. Hard to find decent ones outside of New York City and the States.
Just go gold as green. Every shop sells bagels.
Yeah. We've got a part of England where we keep all our Jewish people.
Yeah.
We do, and they don't mind.
The end of Brick Lane, gold is green.
Seriously.
It's just
Brick
that
Lane,
one
Brick
area.
Lane.
Brick
And there's
Lane.
one bagel shop in Brick Lane.
Two.
Is it two now?
Yeah,
Well, there used to only be one.
Not as good.
And that's enough for all of England.
Oh no, and you got the one.
Because honestly, X-Wing Tavern was, when you get outside of London, everyone else that lives in England thinks that a bagel is foreign muck. I'm right, aren't I? It's a bit too exciting.
We have them in our fridge at home.
Yeah, but that's because you're an exciting go-getter, John.
Oh, that's true.
With a can-do attitude and a snazzy arse to match.
Thanks, mate.
He like that? I knew he would. He wouldn't mind that I
No.
use that word.
No, a bagel is not a dog. Though
That's a beagle.
he is from whippet-eating flat cat territory, isn't he?
Who? John?
No, Lee.
Lee Dalton?
Yeah.
Lee's a proper northerner.
Yeah.
The other day, Lee was trying to say that he lived in the north, and I kept telling him, you don't, dude, you live in the middle. But he wouldn't hear it. So this is Fenrisian Grey and white. So this is instantly really, really light. Right?
What does that word say?
Yeah, he's definitely used the B word there, hasn't he?
That's definitely the B word he's just used.
Yeah.
Bagels with pastrami and cream cheese.
That sounds
No, it's salt beef.
It's salt beef or smoked salmon.
Exactly.
Or
Well, I don't know about
bacon.
salmon, but yeah.
No, a warmed up bagel with cream cheese, bacon and black pepper.
Yeah, I could be down with it. But salt beef is the
Salt
go-to.
beef's good, yeah. So, Fenrisian Grey and white. Now, and I'm rolling my brush out, right? Let's get me in there. I'm always rolling my brush out and I'm getting my tip, right? It's important you get your tip. Now, when you start doing this, when you start edge highlighting and using light colours, it really is about what? No, there was a place in Wood. It's right. I'll tell you another story. It wasn't a Jewish bagel shop. It was a bagel van that we used to go to after we had a drink. Anyway, and he wasn't Jewish, but his bagels were. Anyway, shut up, Kay. So when you're doing this, gentle. Like Simeon hates this. He goes, "You make it look too easy. I can never do it. I can never make it fine. You want your paint thinned, so I'm using airbrush paint with water, really thin, and then you've rolled your stock on your brush, right?
Thank you, Alan Barlow.
And now what we're not trying to be super hard. So I really don't want a lot of paint on my brush to start. We can go back and add that. And now all we're going to do is start catching a few edges. And this doesn't have to be the whole way around the circle. You can start to think about your light sources now. But as well, we are using this as another layer of colour. Right? So this is all part of you building this layered picture up and getting these beautiful free. And you can actually start working back again on the panels, lightening areas.
You sell that model wash, right?
Sorry?
You sell the model wash he's using, right?
Yeah, we've got some. I don't know if we've got the full range in at the moment, but we will have.
Somebody asked what's the difference between the Vallejo model wash and the GW black non-oil wash.
Who asked that? So I can...
Caleb.
So the difference between the GW wash, it is an ink. So ink is kind of, it's a permanent medium. So as you put that ink on, wherever that ink ends up lying, that's where it's staying. Unless you're willing to go in with isopropyl alcohol, which has the ability to take it off, but it also will take off your other layers of paint. Yeah, that's why I don't use that wash on something like this.
Drink. George, do you want a drink?
No, I'm alright, thank you, John. Unless you got a Kraken.
Yeah, I do. Cheers.
And then remember I said about, so for example, we just take something like that, and I ain't nearly done yet, but on some of the little scratches you can put like a light just next to it. You're just catching the edges of the chip.
That's next to the black model.
It's next to the black, right? So turn your model, nice thin paint, and then as you can take some of those off, and little tiny little marks. It's really hard for you guys to see. It's really subtle.
Yes, you can.
What's that? What's that?
Somebody wants a link to donate, and I can do that.
Oh, thanks, Richie C.
Anything to eat? Yeah.
I'll do, John.
What do you want?
Can I have a sunset burger with grilled halloumi, peri fries, medium of course, and a Coke?
Yeah.
Cheers, John.
Oh,
Oh, thank you, Ulfric.
Oh, what's the event on the 5th to 6th of
October. It's our monthly tournament. So we've done it a week early in October because we've got everyone. Well, there's a good few of us that are leaving for Worlds that next week, and we won't be about. And it just gives us one last little tournament at the store to just warm up a little bit. So that's why it's happening a week early. The store's been awesome and changed the dates for us, so we get one more little event. And then you guys can concentrate on watching us at Worlds, hopefully watching Simeon retake his title, and me break down on another public forum, as always, and cry like a child again.
As long as you don't kill Kev this year, I'll be alright.
Awesome. And also, guys, a friend of mine asked me to tell you about a tournament that is coming up that second week of October. And it's a hyperspace trial at Hull's Angels. So look them up on Facebook. If you guys ain't got a ticket, you can get one. And as they actually put on their event, while the best players in the country are at Worlds, come and steal a hyperspace. So, which is fair. I'd do the same if I wasn't going.
Paul's asked, what's the stretch goal?
Oh, the first stretch goal was for a Star Viper pull, and the second stretch goal, which we're into that part of it now, is for this TIE Striker.
Which format is which day in October?
Right, so in October, both days are extended.
Oh, thank you, Rich.
Well, thanks, Rich, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, both days are extended in October because Worlds is extended. So we're going to have 2 days of extended format. It's not like we're doing our veteran coins. There's no coin for that. This is kind of like the wind down tournament and the last chance we've got to have a little play before we go to Worlds. Any of us are, testing lists out or all of that.
So like none of the MOV is going to be stacked for the new.
No.
Season,
The new
it's not
season
the new season.
will start.
Yeah.
September. I think we're probably looking at something like January, no?
Possibly, yeah.
Because
there'll be a lot of events in December.
yeah,
If we're doing
are we going to do our layer?
Oh, we have to. It's
I
Christmas
think so.
party, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll be deeply heartbroken and have nowhere to go at Christmas if we don't, and I will come to John's house and drink all his rum, lying on his bed naked while
No, you won't
sketching.
actually go into the house. You'd just be sitting outside the window, and John would just be passing you rum.
badger
you know.
outside.
Lying on the bonnet of his car like that, just with a bow
And a badger.
as a belt. A bow and a badger? It's a bodger and a badger.
Matt wants to know what list you take into Worlds and
Matt who?
Coles.
I haven't got a clue, Matt.
No,
You're mad. It's me you're talking to.
I've got no idea.
I'm like the
what I'm doing at
weather.
moment.
How often I change my mind.
I need to buy a white wing.
Do you?
Yeah.
I got some out there.
The clone white wings, not the crappy normal white wings.
They're the new ones.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, I
That
got
look
some
weird.
of them out there. Although we just sold one to John Bamford, I think.
No, well, don't worry about him.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll just have his.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about John Bamford. No one likes him.
Just be careful though, because if you don't send it to him, then his wife, Incy's, is gonna email you.
Okay.
Oh. Maybe Lee's not alright. Maybe he has fallen down the hole.
Well, what's happened? Yeah, I know, Lee. I saw that. He actually sent it. We've got a little chat group, and Lee flew 2 Jedi. Took double Jedi. Like, he can only do 2s, 2 decimators, 2 Jedi. He's trying competitive again. Because Lee's a good player. He just don't like to admit it to himself. But we all know, Lee. We all know.
It's a strange one.
Sorry, I've gone quiet.
You get a different shot.
Awesome. Thanks,
Might be YouTube.
Ulfric. So I'm just adding some more white. I am going to go right up to pure white on some of these highlights, but you don't want to do it on all of them. And then as I'm getting whiter and whiter, I'm just catching tiny little edges, the odd high point on the corner. You're not covering this stuff.
Well, there's a super easy way to do that, right? Just have more tickets than everybody else.
What's happening? That I'm not being.
Mr. Spurgeon would like the striker,
Okay.
and he said he needs to win it. So the easiest way to win it is to have more tickets than everybody else.
Which, yeah, just
get 500 tickets, and then
there's
just
no
do that,
limit to
yeah.
tickets, Paul. If you want to donate £500, that'll buy you a lot of tickets, bro.
yeah, Lee's like, good luck, because he knows he's gonna have 1 million tickets.
So those YouTube viewers out there, did you know that you can now sub on YouTube as well as Twitch?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
And our only member on YouTube at the moment is Clive Paget. Amazing. So shout out to Clive. Thanks, Clive.
Yeah, thank you, Clive, for being the only
The
YouTube
only
subscriber.
YouTube subber.
Or maybe is it better to the first YouTube subscriber? Like
Yeah.
The original.
Next person to go out and sub on YouTube, get 100 spondoolies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it
Okay.
right now. Second person to go out and sub on YouTube, get 100 spondoolies, and the offer of a night of romance with me.
Ruster, I've had some ponderings for Leia. I'll message you. Also, what should I create for your participation stuff this year? It's going to take something impressive.
Yeah, it is going to take
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
impressive, but I don't think we should really worry about that. Do you know what, Matt? Why don't you do a really crappy Mary Poppins flying Leia, and we can use it as tractor beam tokens? So really bad.
You could just have a hologram Emperor for Order 66.
You
as
could
we're in,
hologram Emperor.
Yeah, that looks sick. Everybody likes that.
I'm trying to work out whether Marty V81 just subbed on YouTube or not there.
Did someone just sub on YouTube?
Is that you, Marty V81?
I bet that's
V81. Well, that's
Marty Vicker, isn't it? It's gotta
Brandon Pro just subscribed. Yeah, these must be YouTube. Well, let's have a look at YouTube.
be. Well, was Brandon Pro the second one? Brandon, I hope you're attractive because
no, yeah.
we're going out, me and Brandon.
All right.
I hope
cool.
you're not far either. And you don't mind beards. As long as you're not ticklish, mate, you'll be all right. So I will treat you with the utmost respect. Where is Brandon?
Oh, I've just messed that up.
Yeah, what have you done?
Oh, can't find it now.
Isn't it under analytics?
Oh my god, I'm off camera. Sorry,
Model
guys.
Community.
Hmm.
Subscribers there. Oh, channel memberships.
There we go.
No, it's still high.
Oh,
Still just
timber! Guys, I'm just going to move my camera a bit. That's better. Because that's not my comfortable spot. So you can start to see what that lighter and darker effect does. And where we want him to be highlighting and picking at. And as we're going right up to the whites, and I know like you wouldn't get these highlights in nature because of they'd really be in shadow, but you need to lift out these things. Go on, John.
Yeah, so there is a couple of people that subscribe on YouTube. It's not actually come through to YouTube yet. Guys, you've just subscribed to YouTube, but do you want your respondees to go onto your Twitch account? So John Vickery or
I don't think it. Oh,
Matty V81.
Is this
It will
brother?
matter because obviously at 500 respondees, they want all that to go on a certain one, I guess. But we can do it on either one.
I'll tell you what, just put it on mine and it'll be fine.
Okay.
it was 100, wasn't
It's
5?
100,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100 Spondili. Oh, look at this. Heist's going in again. For 1,000. These people have got too many Spondilis playing about. I'll tell you what. John, just reset everybody to 0 because I'm nearly there anyway.
Grand Moffley Dalton heisted 6,666. I hope that wasn't a typo.
Well, he normally does 66, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's 260s more than normal, unless he had like one of those stammers right at that point, like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said, we're just putting in some. You know, this is your world, so wherever you think they live, I'm just going to put a nice little happy highlight right here. Look. Phew, I think that's where it's going to live. That highlight, that's where it lives. I like that. A lovely little highlight. And then maybe if you wanted another, just look, it's your world. If you want to put a little happy highlight, you put that in. I get a lot of letters from viewers saying that when you added that house on top of that happy highlight, you ruined the whole picture. But I just want to live in the model, so I just always want to put a house in the models. And sometimes when you're highlighting, what would really, what I think could work here is maybe just like a mountain in a winter scene,
You got to remember, there's
and maybe a big tree on the right.
never any accidents.
Yeah. Oh, all the little critters that live in his carapace, in his joints. You think of them all happy running around. In all the mites that live in there.
They're all so lost. Oh.
None of them seem to have watched it.
No, but that's fine.
It's fine.
That's totally fine.
It's fine. And don't forget, wash your brush out. Do a good wash, and then a shake. And then you just smack the devil out of it.
Right, I'll put those spondoolies on there.
Kay's the only one watching. Everyone else is asleep.
Yeah.
Kay's the only one watching. So there, look at the difference where we've gone. So I know we've been talking, but really that's taken over an hour to just do the leg, get these shadows in, get these highlights just on that, and we ain't done any of the other bits yet. So this is what I really wanted to try and impress with you with this. This was about layers and layers and layers of putting in this wash. This is not quick, right? I'm going to start picking out a couple of bits of detail, funny
Calling
enough.
me Rasta Ross.
Rasta Ross. Tune in for my Halloween. I'm going to do something special if I can if I can find the right things.
Oh, look at that! That Wolfric just said it's nice watching you paint his Space Wolf pop.
So, where are we? What should we do? I don't know if I want to carry on with that, or I want to put in some detail for you. What shall I do? Let's do one of these purity seals.
Okay, is thanking you for your green stuff tutorial. Flayed ones, aren't they? The Necrons that wear skin,
Necrons,
right?
Yeah. I think so.
No, awesome, dude. Thank you. This is the point of doing them. It's absolutely the point of doing them. So, I did just knock half my paints off my desk. Hold on, let me pick them up. So, where are we? That's orange, George. That's a good colour. That's a brown. That's red. That's brown. There you go. See, this is me reading labels. I have no idea what
colour are you looking for?
browns. I found them. Brown. I think that's all my browns that I brought. So I got some browns.
One of those definitely ain't brown.
Yeah, they are. They're all brown. They say brown. So if they're lying, they can sod off. I got charred brown. I got beastie brown. I got leather brown. And I got bone white. I know that's not brown. But it ain't pink either. So I know it's a good colour. And that goes with them. Right? So I've clearly done something like leather brown with a wash. So let's go back to leather brown. I want to do the script. I think you'll like watching this. So we're going to go back to leather brown, and we're going to, and you can also say it leather brown, not leather brown. But if you want to be understood in England, Americans say leather brown, right? Like old mud brown, right?
Which part of England do you go to?
They all talk like that, John.
Everybody.
Such a tiny country, we don't have any local accents.
I don't in Loughborough.
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 Where everything's got an A on the end of it.
So bone white into,
Salt.
and what we're going to do is
Salt.
we're going to take
It's
some.
salter.
Salt.
We're going to take some titanium white and some
Maybe
Van
that's how we
Dyke
gotta
brown,
do it, yeah.
and we're just going to mix it right here on the palette. Right, get a whole bit mixed up, lovely. And we're going over a layer of liquid white. I've been watching far too much Bob Ross. The Americans at work with how I talk. It's great fun to mess them. Totally, man. You have clearly gone up to your workmates in America and said, "I'm just popping outside for a fag," right? Please say you've done that.
Oh yeah. Well, when we got there, the first thing me and Sim said to somebody is, "Can we bomb a fag?" And they just looked at us.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was fantastic.
can we bum a fag? Not in this state. Maybe in California.
As far as you get burgers.
Well, like Minnesota is just farm country, isn't it? Like, I don't think I saw anybody in general that wasn't just somebody at work.
Yeah.
Did you see any random civilians, George?
No, not really.
No.
Only the bad waitress at Lucky Whatever's.
But again, she works there. That's what I'm saying. Apart from that,
right.
we didn't see any like commoners
Actual people. No.
because it's all just farms.
What they saying?
I can't keep a straight face when they say fanny pack. There goes the PG rating, apparently, out the window. Oh, we haven't said anything on PG.
No. So we're just getting that kind of clothy colour going on. I don't know if it's cloth. Is it like linen-y colour? This is just the base. And we've got that dark brown underneath. And I'm not painting over all of it. Can you see how I'm leaving little bits of that brown under there to give me a bit of distinction. It's been ages since I painted a purity seal. Jesus.
No, Leon Smith has just appeared.
Man, I'm sorry, my weird nose noise I keep making, but it's better than me doing a big blowout on stream.
Big summer blowout.
Do you remember that other day, Alex, when I sneezed 1,000 sneezes? And my
And you
eyeballs.
thought you were gonna die.
I thought my eyeballs were coming out. I felt like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall. I did.
Somebody was microwaving you.
My missus does that. She
Quaid.
sneezes like.
What just
100
goes on
times.
a
Just keeps
goes on a
going and
rampage. I
going.
know. What is
She's
it?
gonna
First
die.
one, bless you,
Yeah,
and then bless you.
yeah.
Anything after that,
No,
they're seeking
it's
attention.
just-
That's
you
it. Yeah.
just- yeah.
My dad would give you the first bless you, and then the second one was, shut up!
Was the third one kicked out the door?
No, you just get a big backhander.
You're getting a black hole appearing again, George.
It's clearly something you lot are doing. Because I'm sat here painting.
Okay. So Alex is moving. He's breathing in and out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Stop breathing.
I'm just.
Okay,
slowly using the
so-
force.
Yeah.
Let's go to pure bone white next to it. I'm using the same brush, so a little bit of that brown's going to go in that white, that bone white, not very much. A little bit of water, keep your paint flowing, really important, especially when you're kind of trying to blend some colours at this point. And then, so you can just feather out colour. You start at the lowest points. You don't put too much paint on your brush, and then you feather that paint out, right? It's not wet blending, it works very, very similarly. Catching the edges, we're not going over everything we did, we're leaving some of the original brands or browns. And then we'll add some white, and then I'll go back in and I'll do some script writing with the brush as well. We're actually going to write some words. I like to always write the words of the famous English children's fairy tale, Bar Bar Black Sheep. Well, you can't say that. Bar Bar coloured, Bar Bar
No. You might
Rainbow Sheep.
Rainbow sheep.
They've
yeah.
changed it.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Bar Bar
'cause
Rainbow
You
Sheep.
can't have black sheep anymore. Even though they
I
do
don't know who
exist,
told me that
'cause
the
I've
other day.
seen a black sheep
You
now.
can't say rainbow sheep, right?
Yeah, you
Why
can.
don't you say rainbow sheep?
Because isn't that the colour of LGBT?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, that's all inclusive.
Is it?
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
What, so everybody's a member of LGBT?
No. You don't have to be if you don't want to.
But
But,
I'm not.
like-
Like, it doesn't
No, I know
include
you're
me.
Of course it does.
Why does it?
Well, it's a sheep.
It's just nonsense.
Right, white. Did my donation go through as I'm having internet connections issue here currently? Did his donation go through,
donation.
John?
Go
I
through?
didn't see one go through.
He normally
before.
makes a loud noise.
Yeah.
Tuscan Raiders.
So any of you out there that are unsure whether your donations go through, my advice would be just to donate a second time anyway, just to be safe.
Or a fourth.
So much less now, just at the bottom. I've added a bit more white in, just catching those edges. Nah, to be fair to him, Captain Rex, it was a sheep that complained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he felt singled out. What was funny, actually, John, honestly, the other day we drove through a stately home in Derbyshire and it had a massive herd of sheep, apart from a single black one.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like,
It's the only black sheep I've ever seen.
could have got him a
as
friend at
It
least.
was the black
Yeah.
sheep of the family.
It was the black sheep of the herd.
well. Stately home was wicked as well.
Where was that?
Staunton Harold, not Staunton Harold. There's a
Yeah.
big ass there.
Yeah. But it was like you can drive through the grounds and you can see like ancient trees all the way along.
Yeah.
There was just sheep like chilling under the trees. Yeah, it was a wicked town actually.
So little bits of pure white, just lifting those last little edges and corners. Right, so we've got some lovely highs and lows in those. So you see where we started, right? We started with that colour, and we get to that. And let's see if I can get you a bit more. That's about the right place. You can see. So there's 3 or 4 different light shades. You get, it looks like it's sitting on top of each. It is sitting on top of each other, but you get some nice contrast in there.
It is looking amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So
It is looking amazing.
now let's do some handwriting on those, right? So now we're going to get a little brush. This brush, not the smallest brush in the world.
Archie, mind if I give a shout out for my
Chimera Squadron Brothers. No, man. Of course not, bro.
No,
Shout out, Arch. Do it, brother. I love you, Irish gamers. I met a good few of you at one of the, not the last System Open, the one before, and I think you guys are awesome. So yeah, crack on and chuck a link up for it, or whatever. Put some detail in the chat. Yeah, if you search for it, there was a plan to bar Black Sheep by Birmingham School back in 2000, which was scrapped after Black Player said it was nonsense.
Yeah.
I suppose if you want to make anything into something it isn't, you can, given enough thingy bob. So what I'm going to do is black paint. This is important. This black paint. It's out of shot. Black paint. And now I'm going to use Haney or Caleb. Oh, not Agrats.
There it is.
Known oil. Right?
Thank you, Paul.
So known oil into this black paint. This is what I'm going to use to thin this black, and that's how I'm going to make this black give me a consistency like actual old-fashioned writing ink, but it's not as thin as pure ink, right? But it will flow a little bit more. But I'm using ink, I'm not using water to thin this, right? Okay,
So that's just known oil?
known oil and black paint. I am going to put just a touch of water just there, just to thin it off a bit, because it was a little dry. It's always warmer when we're working under the lights here. So, hold your breath, everyone. So,
Don't sneeze now.
so you're not trying to actually write letters. You see what's starting to happen? Starting to get the lines of script. And when you do them, you do one and you just break it up. You don't do a complete line. You break it up. And they don't have. You don't really want them perfectly straight. You do want little bits of movement in the lines. And as you start, I'm trying to get you a better shot. As you start to move up, and remember, as the purity seal is bending a little bit, the writing will follow those contours. And just keep going all the way. So we get the script on the purity seal, right? Going all the way down. When we hit some of the bigger ones, you see like these ones, you can put like the letter, a little like Roman letter I or a Roman letter whatever, and then do the script. And then don't forget about the one that's underneath. So when you're doing the one underneath, you don't want to leave a gap both sides. You want to tuck right into this and come out from it. So you tuck right into that one and come out.
Rich wants to know how you can even see that, but I mean, like, he's blind.
Rich is blind.
Yeah. Thank you, Rattler.
Thank you, Rattler, not Tatler. I can't focus on the monitor with my glasses on. There we go. Can you see that? So we get the script running down there. And we'll do that for all of our purity seals as we're going. Oh, you can put a letter at the bottom. Should I try and put a little letter at the bottom? Yeah, let's do a little letter I. I don't know why. But look, straight line down. See if we can get you in there. Straight line down. Little line across the bottom. Right, little line across the top. Right, now to make it look like Baroque, like they would have done then, you just put a little line through it. See that? And a second little one. So it's got these little cross hatches through the letter I. You've got that nice little bit of. Get you in shot. Can you even see that? Just like a little Baroque letter I, and then you just carry on with your writing above it. Because that one was given to him by an inquisitor who clearly, after he dealt with a demon incursion, checked him out and he wasn't tainted by the purge of chaos, and give him a little purity seal to say that he'd been a good boy this week. So it's a bit like the stickers you get when you go to the dentist, but you're a space marine. They've all got to have a reason. There's no point in them being there. Tighten that up a little bit. Right, nice. So, a little bit of detail.
No.
What, Space Wolves are heretical?
Not even slightly.
He needs a punch for that, to be completely honest with you.
But then you'll probably find Lee is the kind of person that
That's brown.
played Chaos for all of his life.
That's red. So just taking a little bit of blood red. We've already got a base coat of scarlet red with a little bit of that black wash that's already been put over those. We're not trying to go super detail here. We're just trying to pick out and just give them a little bit of a lighter.
Thank you, Archinin.
You're getting close.
Thank you, Archinin, bro. Appreciated. So we're just putting in some reds here, lightening this up, lightening these up to a more acceptable red colour. I'm actually going to put a wash over these after I've done this, because they're so small. Got some Games Workshop yellow, because they do good yellows. I'll give them that. A bit of that with me yellow, with me red. Get a bit of an orange.
Are you finding that it's taking a lot longer to paint the figure, not just because it's a bigger figure, but there's more detail on it?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was one of my biggest problems is that I put so much detail on them. I had so much work, but it's a much bigger canvas, and you can't get away with certain things that you might have got away with. You do need to paint it.
No, what's Lee's interesting fact?
Right, so that's a bit orange, but it's okay. I'm going to even make it even more, and then I'm going to knock it back with a bit of a wash. Oh, it's a bit too yellow, that. Take a bit off.
I'm still expecting an interesting fact.
He might have just texted you. I did hear something vibrate.
Not me. No, I'm not.
That
I'm
was-
not that popular.
That was something else.
In all of my life, right up to gaming, I played Jedi's. Was always the good guys for over 20 years.
No night, lucky call sign, darling. Thank you for watching.
That is slightly surprising. I really had to peg down for a Chaos player, and a Stormtrooper.
So let's use a bit of this. Excuse me, a bit of this peat brown. So this is ink. You see that colour?
Quite ready.
Yeah.
Ready.
That's why it makes the golds.
Yeah,
They look like bronze and they glow.
yeah.
Right. So we're gonna put that over this. And I know that might seem a bit counterintuitive, and you're like, but you've just highlighted it. Why are you covering it over? It's fine. It's going to give me that reddy brown over it all. tone back that orange a little bit and just fall in. And this is a great ink that if I wanted to, I can just run that down the side of that purity seal just to add a little bit of colour, a little bit of more shadow to the underneath one over the script. Right? You can do the same again if you want to. You just take a little bit down the centre and feather that out just to age down that writing that you've done, and maybe some of those higher whites. It just gives it that bit of age into it. Okay, so that's purity seal done now. I've already done these runes. I've still got the bag and I've got the teeth to do. I've paid this is a late date, and then I worked for you for 10 years. Love the models. Yeah, I think the models were a lot better. I think in recent years, I know they've got out some really cool stuff, but I do think they went through quite a big phase of where they got quite lazy, and you could see that it was CAD designed, and it was lots of drop down boxes and stamp on skulls and all of that, where when you've got guys that are doing it with their hands, you just tend to get a more vibrant, exciting product. It's 5 to 9. Where does it go? Where? And we only talked about biscuits for half an hour. We haven't talked about the 2 tournaments we just had.
No.
We hadn't talked about the luckiest guy in the world, Matt Coles, for winning it twice, because clearly you have to be a Delapina to win it twice, and he just lucked out that day. Right? It's because I was commentating one of the days. That's what happened.
It should be noted I do owe him a double prize.
Yeah, Matt, you'll get your double prize. Don't worry,
there
bro.
is something coming. I haven't forgotten that.
It's probably going to be something like a golden pop.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Star Wars Limited, like Golden Poe, but Golden Pop. See what we're doing there? I felt like they focused on designing for kids. They did. They totally did. I certainly think about 10 years ago, the when they were releasing like the Space Marine dropship and stuff, the littler one.
The drop one.
Nah, it was like the little...
Land speeder.
Nope. It's bigger than a land speeder, whatever it is.
Raven strike.
Raven
along those
thing.
lines.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
It was called. It was just really poor design. There was massive flat areas with no design on. There was... You could... Stormtail and Storm Raven.
Yeah,
those things. You could just see instantly that there wasn't a flatline sculptor actually working on the model in his hand. It had all been done in CAD, and it was all drop-down boxes of let's just stamp skulls here. And that's not cool. Not when you're paying the money you're paying for anything.
Skulls and spikes is the GW way, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not even going to talk to you about
When there's a gap, you add a spike. If there's a slightly smaller gap, you add a skull. If there's a bigger gap, you add multiple skulls and a spike.
If this was truly, I could guarantee that this was an adult stream, I would tell you the in-house Games Workshop joke of what they used to describe as the Games Workshop painting method as coined by John Blanche. And it was using a tea bag and another thing. That was it. So you had to have a tea bag and one of these. John Blanche paint job. That was it. That's all you need. And a skull stamp. Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of skulls. Lovely. So, yeah, it did get a little bit lazy. So, it is nearly 9 o'clock. I'm not going to go too much further on stream. So now you've seen how we're using the washes, right? That goes to all areas. I'm going to do exactly the same principles. I'm going to use black washes on here. The only place that's going to be a bit different is I'm going to use some of this brown wash against this yellow, yeah? But other than that, all I'm going to carry on doing with this model is a rinse and repeat of the same technique you saw on the leg and you've seen, for example, on the purity seal. So anywhere where there's like these brown colours, there's going to be highlighting done. These will be done up to teeth. The metals are going to get highlighted. Oh, do you know what? Quickly, I will give you one little bit of advice with these metals. So this was done in bright brass. So bright brass base coat, and then I put 2 coats of the peat brown. When you come to highlight gold, if you want more of a bronze finish, so I'll take my original base colour, which is the bright brass. So we don't need to do much. You can see, like John said, it's like that reddy colour. You can see how it's glowing. You see how rich that colour is on that base coat, right? So let's go to the edge of this. And now let's just gently put on some of that gold. Now gold is, as you can see, look, let me show you on here on my glove. Gold is like, and the metallic colours, they're held in like this suspension fluid almost. So they're very, very unopaque. So you can really thin out this really strong gold onto a much darker base coat by just using a little bit and then just drawing it out. So you're leaving, you don't need too much paint. It's a nice strong highlight, but it blends really, really easily. You can already see how it picks that light? That's because we're putting that bit of gold back on the edge. But the real trick we're doing, let's move him out of the way. The real trick with golds is don't go up to silly garish yellow golds. I ain't going to go any higher as a gold colour than this brazy brass or this bright brass. Bright bronze.
Brazen brass.
No, it ain't brazen brass.
Bronze.
It's bright brass. Alright, so let's just get this bit of gold done, then I'll show you. So now instead of adding any golds, I'm going to add silver. Really bright silver. It's really important. You can see it just in the pad there, yeah? Bright silver. Bright silver and gold mixed together. Let's get you in shot. When you go yellow, it looks really tacky and crappy. So adding in some gold first. So you can see that the silver is definitely the dominant colour. But you have got, it's like almost like a champagne. So then those edge highlights now, what you're going to do, we'll catch them with the silver. With this silver, see that? Can you see it? Look what that does. Right, look, so no gold, no silver, and then look at that corner with that bit of silver on it. You see how that really jumps? Gold wouldn't do that. If you added the traditional yellow golds, it doesn't look real anymore. And this isn't like on an armour, it's not going to be fine gold, is it? It's going to be like a bronze or a brass or that sort of metal. So you want this kind of moodier, not yellow gold. Yellow gold really should be reserved for ladies' wedding rings and not painting on models. Then we add a little bit, almost pure silver. Just going to put a little touch of that with it. And once again, as always, when you're hitting these high highlights, less is always more. You can always add, you can't take away. So right on that. Right on that. See that? You see what the silver does? It's so much better. So much nicer look than a yellow gold. So yeah, that's what you need to be doing with your bronzes.
Pokemon.
Random question, but how do you get Pikachu, Charizard, and Bulbasaur on a bus? What?
Pokemon.
Oh, you Pokemon.
Yeah, come on. Same shit.
You know, Rattler, we've got Paul Spurgeon for that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Right, so that's what you do with your bronzes. We've touched on the techniques involved with basically taking you from the really bland, as you can see on this arm still, we've still got nothing, to start adding in all those beautiful, beautiful layers of colours, right? There's so much detail on this to paint. So much. There's a lot of hours of work still to do. Take your time. Expect it to be a lot of work. As you can see, I hope, by this. Let's get you a nice shot.
Hasn't he got the punchline right?
Right?
I think he's got it wrong on purpose.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
okay.
kind of it's one of those anticlimactic jokes.
Okay, my impression is really bad.
So
Yeah.
here's where you're aiming for. This is what you're going to get by the time you finish. Remember, I haven't even finished this gem yet. But from bland, here, you can see, to lots of... So like, just pay attention here. You can see this is where I've painted with this model wash. This is what this model wash will allow you to do. I hope this is showing up. It allow you to put these shadows in that other inks and washes won't allow you to do. And you can see how where you put the dark and then you even have the dark running in and then a hard light, it just makes things pop out a little bit. As we were talking about using some of those lighter colours, you can see where I've really very delicately, these are like hairlines, so subtle that if you do these too thick, you overwhelm the piece, right? So be subtle with your weathering. Like I said, a thinner, start thin, because you can always add more opacity as things dry out, or you add a stronger colour. You can always add, you can't take away easily. So especially when you're at weathering, and you know, you'll go back and go, I need a bit more, or you know, like I said, you can add the bit more, you can't take away. So err on caution, you get used to it. I mean, if you're paying attention to anything I'm doing, you'll notice there is some kind of method once I start damaging areas, right? So you can imagine something hits it, rolls. Think about it like that. Like a single, let's try and get you in, a single paint spot can be a chip. Doesn't need to be a massive, great, big, elaborate 4-foot chip. Just a little spot. And they're often the details that will set your work apart. Right, guys.
Shall we put the Star Viper up and roll over the
Well, I'm just gonna.
Striker?
We're just letting you know, if we don't hit 120 in the next 4 or 5 minutes, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna roll over.
Yeah.
And we will talk about. Yeah, next week I think we're gonna jump on to a converted pod racer. I don't know how do you value a night like a night. So, what I'm literally gonna try and do when it's done. And like I said, we are going to go for a process where each one of these is going to have a certificate, 2-page certificate. It's going to have photos of it before it was painted. It's going to have a base. It's going to come with its own box, and it's going to be limited to the one. I'm just purely going to try and cover my hours. And you know me, Lee Graham off Dalton. You know what that's going to relate to in actual money per hour. You guys, these ain't going to be cheap. But you ain't going to be paying me minimum wage for this. You never do. The stuff I'm giving you, they're like a £60 small ship with a £20 cost of buying the ship. I don't make even probably £5 an hour a lot of the stuff I'm giving you guys away. So it's probably be the same as this. So whoever does win this or whoever does buy this, as much as the price might be a bit like, that's a bit of a much, honestly, none of you would have done it at any job for the money I'm going to charge you for this, for the actual hours I've put in. So I don't know yet exactly, Lee. I know that this one and the Dark Angel will be slightly cheaper than the Legion of the Damned, just purely because there was more time spent sculpting and there'll be more time spent painting. But I think what I'm trying to show you is I've never wanted to teach any of you mediocre painting. So I teach you the best I can do. And I've always aimed for competition standard when I paint. I don't aim for tabletop and I don't even aim for cabinet. I aim for above cabinet. I aim for competition standard. So you don't need to hit my marks. You just need to take part of my showing you technique and showing you mediums and do your best with it. And you certainly don't need to go as mad and spend the hours and hours I do. I'm not trying. If I was painting 50 of these, I'd smash them out. You break my heart because it's not what I do, but if that's what I had to do to make money, they'd just be sprayed, they'd have a couple of details picked out really quickly, and they'd be cheap. You know, it's kind of two laws of business. You either stack them high and sell them cheap, or you stack them low and sell them expensive. And I'm stacking them low and I'm selling them at a reasonable price. Because I don't I honestly very rarely manage to hit minimum wage money for my work. So, you know what? I don't know if I teach as well as I'd like to. We're certainly got to look into the problem we have with the cameras, and I find with the cameras, we have such a kind of limited field of focus that when you want to turn and show things, they lose that edge. Yeah. And I'll show that to them, and then I put it there, and it don't quite look the same, does it? Not quite the same.
Certainly a way that we could do it better, but it's just the cost.
Yeah, I don't know. Totally. Yeah. It's totally about that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it would be pretty much the same setup, but the camera quality would be an awful lot better. It's just whether it's worth doing it or not.
Yeah. Right, so next week we are going to be building a Naboo starfighter. And what we're going to do as well, we're going to be doing like a Naboo starfighter which is turned into Anakin's pod racer. We are going to check on Estevium's stock list to see if they've got any Naboos in. Yeah. And if they have Naboos in and we can get hold of some, what we'll do is we'll offer you to buy the Naboo you need to do the conversion from us Monday night only. Let's say a 10% discount off.
If we can get them.
If we can get them. Yeah. We'll check if we can, but if we can do that, so you can buy the bit you need to do what I'm going to show you. But you will need a Nabooby starfighter, and you will need a U-wing, of course. But you only need 2 of the U-wing engines, so you can make 2 of these out of your U-wing. So we need 1 U-wing and like a T65 or a T70, and again that'll work to make 2. So if you've got some of those ships lying about or bits you can scavenge, you'll be able to build this, plus a few bits of plastic card, plus some green stuff and some wire and so on and so forth. But I've already made 1 set of engines out of a Gazanti for a Naboo starfighter. No word of a lie. They're pretty cool, aren't they? Yeah. Right? So the plan is that I get that one kind of done to show you. I've already done, and I've done a second converted Naboo I'll bring in that's going to be Spider-Man. You're going to love that. We've got a fly in the room.
Yeah, I was just fighting it.
Missed it. I did. Right, but anyway, so look, we haven't hit our stretch goal tonight, so we're going to roll over the second part. So the first part will be for the Star Viper.
Yeah, I'll pull that up now.
I have to follow along, do it badly, then throw lights into it to distract from the horrible job I made of it. It would be quite possible for you to chuck lights in it as well, actually. I'm just not sure where you... Yeah, it would...
Probably in both... The centre of both engines.
Both engines, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe across the gap between the two.
I tell you what.
Yeah, like a lighting bar.
We just sold out in the Naboo stars because I brought 4 of the bloody things, I'll tell you. Nearly. Right, so stretch. Yeah, guys, raffle is open. You need to type in !raffle and the number of tickets you would like. It's 500 Spondoolies of tickets. It's unlimited, and you get an extra one if you're a subscriber. If you haven't subbed, do it before you get your ticket. And this is just for the Star Viper, right? The striker goes over to next week. You need to come back and get that striker. I can't live on £60 a week, tight-fisted sods. What? This is going to get told the truth this week. Cheeky sods. Come on. We're going to give you another couple of minutes, actually, because you guys are just checking your points and so on and so forth. Matt, I'll have a think about Leia. Yeah, Clive had a raffle. Zoe! Yo, Zoe! Right, I'm going to count you down to 10. Oh, said Zoe buy tickets. Clive brought tickets. Okay, Richie C brought tickets. While you're buying tickets, I ain't starting the countdown. 4 tickets, Richie C. I like it. Rattler 4. There you go, 5. I like it. Hey, Zoe, babe. Zoe, so I'm going to bring my picture in next Monday and I'm going to show the internet how amazing you are. I love you all, Frick. Right.
We have that.
I'm because every time I am going to close the raffle in 10, Last chance to get tickets. 9, 8. Oh! I'll wait for ya.
He's
Look
gonna
at the
take
panic
that, yeah.
raffle. Oh! Oh!
Woof, woof.
Use my feet.
I bet he's done that on purpose.
Oh no, you got to do a whole nother raffle. Nightmare.
Right, okay.
Right, so this raffle's for both of them.
Okay, we'll give you another couple of minutes. They're both up now.
I'll get me some more raffles.
Okay, so they're both up. If you want them, the striker now, get yourself some tickets. We'll give you a couple of minutes. This is silly. And someone say something interesting so I can talk about it. Oh, I'll tell you about the tournament. Double Jedi, fun, man. I think I might have found a thing I liked. Finks has got ticket. Wookiee Outriders. Yeah, so first one's getting the Star Viper. Second one is getting the Striker. If the one that gets the Star Viper really wanted the Striker and the one that gets the Striker really wanted the Star Viper, talk to each other. Thank you, Ulfric, you beautiful, beautiful man. The most generous man. I will have to sort you out something special for your birthday, Ulfric.
We should have really talked about the veterans as well, because you're both veterans, aren't you?
What happened was, John, the excellent conversation of biscuits
Yeah,
He
really
took over.
dominated
Yeah,
today's stream.
dominated that,
Do you know what? Next Monday we'll do that. We'll get some. Do you reckon by next Monday we could have had sorted out the last 6?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, if
I
we do,
think-
we'll announce them live. T Terminator, you need to put exclamation raffle, brother. If we get the 6 voted for, because there's a lot of us in there, and everyone's got a different take on who they want the 6,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We came, we saw, we took your coins. You came, you saw, we let you take our coins.
We're given coins.
That's what I tell myself every time I lose a game. I didn't want to hurt Matt's feelings on stream and make him lose, so I let him crush me like the noob that I am. I like that kind of rejection in my life.
Yeah.
I need as much of that at the
The
moment as
pain,
I can.
yeah, more pain the better.
Right. I'm going to close this raffle in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1 3/4, 1 1/2, 1 5/8, and I just went back up. 0.5 closed. You can no longer enter the raffle. Thank you so much. The last few bidders there got us right in there. Right, so Star Viper.
So this is for the Star
This
Viper?
is for the whole world. It's like Jurassic Park, John.
Hawkshead!
Hawkshead, yay! God, he's been lucky. He's won a few, you know.
Yeah, he's done
Hawkshead
alright.
won the was it the
Trandoshan Slaver.
with the Trando Slaver? Yeah, it was the Slaver. Wow, well done, Hawkshead. Congratulations.
get
And
all
then
the
go with
strong
him. He
stuff.
can run
Yeah,
Guri
exactly.
Boss because it's
Yeah.
so good.
Wicked.
It's so good. And the winner of the TIE Striker is, everyone keep your fingers crossed for Lee Dalton. Phil! 0091 has won the Star Viper.
Oh, Hawks had one mace.
Oh, it was Mace Windu. Oh, man. Well, right, guys. Congratulations. Hold on. Yeah. Phil, get me an address, please, guys. I know yours, Hawkshead. I've got it written down somewhere. I got a message from you. I'll get yours in the post. Well, you did this time, didn't you? You did this time. Well done, brother. You do run Scum. It's Phil, isn't it? Is it Phil? It is Phil.
Phil who?
Phil from Philip Pond. I'm sure it's Philip Pond. Please be
No, I
Philip
thought
Pond.
Philip Pond had like a different mad name.
Are you not Philip Pond, are you? Is there too many of them got the same name?
Or GC.
That's not Phil GC.
No.
It is Pond
It is
Scum.
Pond
Yeah,
Scum.
I thought
Right,
it was
okay.
Pond Scum. Right, okay. I'm sure I've got your address, Pond Scum. But yeah, Ulfric is stream boss, so Ulfric gets 1,000 Spondoolies. Is that right? 1,000?
Yeah, 1,000.
So yeah, if you're stream boss at the end of the stream, it's 1,000 Spondoolies. Thank you very much for your generosity this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will have this finished for next Monday. Not necessarily the base, but I'll have this finished and we'll get some good photos. As always, if you're part of the Patreon, you will get those photos and probably more photos than we're going to show on stream on the Patreon, and that'll be your only way of accessing those. So if you're out there, the Patreon is Rastamace Painting, Patreon Rastamace, find me. I'm out there, Italian attractive guy with long hair. I've really enjoyed doing this, and I really want to get it done as well. They're the best projects when you can't put them down. And I have got loads of other stuff I should be doing. I should be getting people's dial covers done for Worlds and painting ships and stuff and kind of organising myself a bit more. But this is on. So next week it is converting a Naboo Starfighter into Anakin's pod racer, Captain's Rex. So trust me, when you see what I've worked out, it's so bloody cool. It's a bit scary though, cutting up when you see what's left of the Naboo when I finish. There's not much. A little bit of £18 plastic. There's my £18 plastic.
At least it's bright yellow.
And let's add some £60 epic ships.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, and sprinkle with £40 mediums and just a little touch of £20 X-Wings. Right? £20 X-Wings. Yep. That's it. So that's what we're doing next week. I'm going to bring you in some converted ones that I've already done. I've done this monster one. I've done another one that looks like, my Captain the Marvel stuff, which is completely different. You'll like that conversion. Something you can all do. And I'm going to do this cool Spider-Man paint theme. So keep your eyes posted for that. Other than that, it's been wicked. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night Dream Stream. Two great games. Alex will be in the house. I'll be in the house.
I think even Mr. Brooks might be in the house.
Ash Brooks will be in the house. He won't be playing next week. He'll just be here, looking beautiful as always, paying James compliments on his hair.
If you can see him.
If he stands sideways,
on,
you're right. So listen, next week we'll be back at 7:00. Please tune in tomorrow for Ryan and Alex and everyone that's part of the Dream Team. 2 fun games for you guys to watch again. And we'll be back next Monday. I think that's us, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're out.
Yeah.
Peace. One love.